Good morning, everyone. Respected dignitaries, esteemed speakers, faculty members, and my fellow students. A warm welcome to you all. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today as we begin the much awaited 2 day workshop, Reading Between the Frames Critical Approaches to Film Studies, organized by the Department of English, VNR VJIET. This workshop is an exciting opportunity to dive deep into the world of cinema, not just as a source of entertainment but as a powerful medium of storytelling, culture, and critical thinking. Over the next 2 days, we will hear from our experts who will help us see films in a whole new light, understanding their deeper meanings, techniques, and the impact they have on society. Whether you are a film enthusiast, a curious learner, or someone new to film studies, this workshop has something valuable for everyone. So let's get started on this exciting journey. Wishing you all a great learning experience ahead.
To commence the event on a graceful note, I invite Geeta to lead us into the invocation.
गजाननं भूतगणाधिसेवितं कपित्थजम्बू फलसारभाक्षितम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारकं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरः पादपङ्कजम् या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता या वीणा वरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेत पद्मासना या ब्रह्मच्युत शङ्करप्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा पूजिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापः.
Thank you, Geeta. Setting the tone for the event, I invite Kartika and Sragvi to captivate us with a welcome dance.
Follow my lead.
The privilege of inviting our esteemed dignitaries to the dais.
Join us in inviting Dr. K. Neelaveni, Head, Department of English, VNR VJIT, to the dais.
I would now like to invite Dr. C.D. Naidu Garu, Principal, VNR VJIT, to grace the dais.
I would now like to invite Dr. Khamalakkannan Garu to grace the dais.
I now welcome Sri Subbu Peteti Garu to grace the dais. The lighting of the lamp signifies knowledge, wisdom, and the beginning of an enlightening journey. I now invite our esteemed dignitaries and the conveners of the workshop to lit the lamp.
With the ceremonial lamp lit, we now move forward with the welcome address. I invite Dr. Lalita Sridevi, one of the conveners of this workshop, to extend a warm welcome to our esteemed guests and audience.
Good morning, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all to this workshop, Reading Between the Frames Critical Approaches to Film Studies. Whether you're a student, scholar, filmmaker, or simply a passionate cinephile, your presence here today reflects a shared commitment to engaging deeply with the art and language of cinema. Through this workshop, we'll explore how critical perspectives can deepen our understanding of film as both an academic and a cultural text. The sessions would focus on the visual, the narrative, the ideological, and most importantly, what lies in between the frames, the edits, the silences, and the subtext that speaks volumes. Over the course of the discussions, we'll engage in diverse cinematic traditions, deconstruct familiar tropes, and challenge dominant narratives. We ask questions about authorship, representation, spectatorship, and the politics of image making. Most importantly, we will foster an environment of critical inquiry and collaborative learning. I encourage you to bring your insights, your questions, and your passion to this space. Let us expand our perspectives and leave this workshop with a richer and more nuanced way of seeing cinema. I look forward to the conversations ahead. Happy day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mom, for the warm welcome. It is now my honor to invite Dr. K. Neelaveni Garu, Head of the Department of English, VNR VJIT, to deliver the opening remarks.
Good morning. I hope you're all here mentally, not physically. Good morning, everyone. It's a privilege to stand before you today as we inaugurate this workshop on film appreciation and critical analysis. On behalf of the Department of English, I extend my warmest welcome to our principal, Dr. C.D. Naidu Garu, esteemed speakers, Dr. Khamalakkannan Garu, Professor, Presidency College, Sri Subbu Peteti Garu, an award-winning filmmaker, producer, director, and scriptwriter. my dear faculty members, students, and all film enthusiasts gathered here. Cinema is more than an art form, it is a language of emotions, ideas, and social change. It captures the essence of human experiences, shaping and reshaping the way we see the world. Whether through compelling narratives, thought provoking documentaries, or experimental short films, every frame tells a story, every scene evokes a response, and every film leaves an imprint on the audience. This workshop is an opportunity to step beyond mere spectatorship and engage deeply with the creative and analytical aspects of cinema. We will explore the nuances of scripting, understanding how ideas transform into powerful visual narratives. We will dissect film structures and storytelling techniques, appreciating the choices that make a film resonate. Through discussions on documentaries and short films, we will examine how cinema can challenge the conventions and amplify voices that often go unheard. We will also gain insights into the tools of filmmaking, recognizing the craftsmanship behind the screen. And most importantly, we will cultivate a keen eye for film appreciation and critical analysis. Critical analysis, learning to interpret films not just as entertainment, but as reflections of society, culture, and artistic vision. More than a workshop, this is an invitation to observe, question, and interpret, to see films not just as stories, but as dialogues between the filmmaker and the audience, between reality and imagination. I extend my sincere gratitude to our resource persons and organizers for their efforts in bringing this initiative to life. To the participants, I encourage you to immerse yourselves fully, listen, discuss, debate, and above all, enjoy the magic of cinema. With that, I'm delighted to declare this workshop open. May it be an enriching and inspiring experience for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful remarks. I now have the privilege of introducing Dr. C.D. Naidu Garu, Principal, Vienna VJIT. He is an able administrator and an accomplished educationalist. He started his career.
Thank you for inviting me here. So I was recollecting about films. The film those days when we used to see in tents, sitting on the sand and looking at the cinema with a passion, right? NTR cinema, ANR cinema, Shobhan Babu cinema. Do you remember these names? Krishna cinema, is it? Kantarao cinema, right? Rajanala cinema. You please see their photos at least, even if you don't remember those names. So without technologies, they don't know the technology. We just black and white cinema they display. From villages, we go to nearby taluk and sit on a sand across the floor and watch the movie with a passion. Probably we might have learned many things out of it. So those days, people used to call, our teachers used to call, read books to develop your personality. So probably Madam was talking about see cinemas and develop your personality. That's the essence of your talk. So that's what I remember right now. So that is what the people are looking at it. So cinema has become a passion. Cinema has become a knowledge. Cinema has become a personality development tool. So that is where that has become a technology now. So I was reading the title. I might have read title by this time 5 times. So reading in between the lines, I know it, which we used to understand what is that means. And reading in between the frames, also I know as a image processing technologies. So the frames, different algorithms that you apply, and then see how you optimize those frames and other things. But reading in between the frames, absolutely I don't know anything about it. what is there in between the frames. So that is what, and that too critical approach between those two frames. So that is what I understand from the title. So to look at the cinema, we need to develop our personality. How is this cinemas are going on? There are good, bad, and best things that happens. So take the best out of it, and then uh, uh, enrich your knowledge and make great out of your life. So few passionate people may become like the guests on the days. Probably they pursued their film as a subject, and they became great in their own fields. So in a similar way, the audience, and I thought about 90 participants here itself. About 100 people are there online. About 50 participants are participating in these 2 days. They should have a great learning on the techniques. Probably they teach how to use these technologies. Probably cinema has become more technological these days than only shooting kind of a thing. So skill, from skill to technology, and both together, now cinema is being made. So I wish a great journey on this path. And I didn't know this itself has become a career. We never imagined that cinema has become a career kind of a thing. Looking at many documentaries and short films and short video shooting, all that. So that has become a passion, and then careers. People are building on that. So in those days, we never imagined that cinema is for a great producers and other things. So because those days, multiple cinemas you cannot see. One district headquarter will have one reel will come, right? If you want to show in different theater, this reel is over. After 1 hour, they take that reel to the next cinema theater on a bicycle, and then show it there and come back here in bits and pieces. So in between, people has to wait after two reels, come back to that reel, and then show it again. So those were the days. Now in one theater with a digital stick, probably you are showing at five shows, 6 shows in one cinema theater. That is what the technology that has happened now. So with these few words, I thank the guests who have come here to deliver lectures to you, and learn these technologies and develop your personalities. Wish you all good luck and great learning in these 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful address. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Ashok, faculty from the Department of English, to introduce our esteemed speaker, Dr. Khamalakkannan garu.
Good morning, everyone. We are privileged to have Dr. Khamalakkannan sir with us today. As an associate professor at Presidency College, Chennai, he has made significant contribution to the area of film studies, critical theory, Latin American literature, and gender studies. He has completed his education from undergraduation to PhD at the University of Madras. He has authored 4 books so far, titled Kalathe Vendra Kadidangal, that is, Letters Those Have Conquered Time, Alfred Hitchcock in Tamil, Basics of Contemporary Literary Theory in English, The Invisible Album and Other Poems, a poetry collection in English. In addition to being an academician and poet, he is also an artist. He does oil painting and charcoal sketches and has conducted 2 solo exhibitions so far. His paintings can be viewed at the Instagram ID Kamals_canvas. I am privileged to have the opportunity of being taught theories and film studies by him during my PG days. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation, and we are happy to have you here with us today. Thank you, sir.
So good morning to all of you. Okay. So at the outset, I really thank VNR, JIET management, the principal, the head of the department, and all the members of the English department, and especially Professor Ashok, who was my student during his post-graduation days. And I also thank you all for attending this workshop. Okay. So have you ever thought why film studies in a technical institute? You are studying technology. You are studying engineering. Why film studies?
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Wahid Shafia, faculty from the Department of English, to introduce our esteemed guest, Sri Subbu Peteti, sir.
Good morning to one and all. It's with immense pleasure that we welcome Sri Subbu Peteti, an award-winning filmmaker, hands-on producer, director, scriptwriter, skilled at managing projects from initial pitch to successful delivery. Over 2 decades of expertise in film, television, creative agencies, Sri Subbu has built a diverse and dynamic portfolio spanning ad films, short films, and television shows. His extraordinary travel adventure show sets a milestone, traveling 7,000 kilometers across India. He vividly captured the human spirit of human resilience and the profound strength of human connections. He also collaborated with renowned platforms such as Sky TV in London, which brings a global outlook to his storytelling, enriching his craft with diverse influences and insights. Currently, Sri Subbu serves as a professor of practice in media studies at Githam University, Hyderabad, shaping the next generation of storytellers. It's my pleasure to welcome Sri Subbu Peteti, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Dignitaries on the stage, off the stage, and my dear lovely students out there, and the digital people there. Hello, digital people. Yeah, how many do we have online? Okay, around 50. Fantastic. Meet the new great world. Okay, I really love the way you have titled your workshop today, Reading Between the Frames. I think, like Sir had mentioned, it's usually reading between the lines, but reading between the frames is trying to understand what actually is this film saying. I mean, that brings me to a very popular Chinese proverb which says, if you ask a question, you feel like a fool only for 4 minutes, but if you don't ask a question, you'll feel like a fool for the rest of your life. So I would uh, like you to take advantage of this particular workshop in absolutely asking ridiculous questions. There's nothing like a stupid question. Please ask a lot of questions, and I can tell you a small story about how my filmmaking journey had transformed from the way I started asking questions. This is a very true story which happened in London, where I was doing my MA filmmaking course. And we Indians like to eat with hand, don't we? Yeah. So some of my colleagues and students at the university, they were making fun of me eating with hand in a very ridiculous manner, and it was more like a racist comments they were making. So I got really angry, and I started researching on why do we eat with hand. I mean, it is surprisingly that there is a paper publication in Oxford University by a British person saying that we eat with hand because the hand fingers have nerve endings, and those nerve endings, when they touch the food, they kind of judge the texture and the life of the food, the kind of temperature and everything, and depending on that food, the mind sends a signal to the stomach and produces that kind of enzymes to digest that kind of food that you're eating. So much technology is happening if you're eating with food, and if you're eating with fork and spoon, you miss out all that, and that is why you get all the digestive issues and mental health issues. So what I did, I got angry. I stood for elections in the international experience officer. I got elected. Of course, I rigged the election by paying a lot on Facebook. Yeah, but I won the election, and I pasted the entire university's dining hall with why we should eat with hand. So that anger made me ask a lot of questions, and it led to that kind of a transformation in the universities. Similarly, all my counterparts in my university used to say, your Indian films are very noisy, they're very colorful, too bright. I mean, your heroes, they walk always in slow motion, and they're always anti-gravity. You see sumos or vehicles, lorries, going up in the sky and falling very slowly. They were ridiculing our films. I again got angry, and I started researching. So when I researched, I realized, oh my god, I mean, our heroes, suddenly they are angry and they fight. They massacre people with big machetes, and suddenly we see the heroine and start running around the bushes singing songs. That's what happened, right? Then I said, why are we like this? Are we below in filmmaking and storytelling, or the British or the Western people, are they in a very top level? that's when I started researching, and I found out that it all started. It all depends on what we eat. If you see the British eating, it's just three things that they eat: a vegetable, a protein, which is some kind of a meat, or a carb, which is either potato mashed or a little bit of rice. But come back to our way of eating. We have a green leaf. We start with what do we eat with roti chutney, and then we move on to a little bit of a curry with a little bit of papad, a little bit of pappu, which is dal, and then we move on to sambar with odiyalu again, and then we move on to rasam, curd rice, and then a sweet. And to as though we have not eaten enough, we have a pan which has got all the 200 tastes in the whole world. So that is where I realized we are not below the foreign storytelling. They are that is their style of eating, so they consume that kind of films. This is our kind of eating. This is our kind of storytelling. So what I would encourage you guys to do is in these 2 days of workshop, please don't look for solutions, look for questions. The more questions you have, the more discussions you will have. Even when I'm screening or filming something, please ask a lot of questions and extract all the knowledge that you can get. So to all the questions that you're going to ask, and have a great session for these 2 days. Wonderful. Thank you again for the opportunity. The dignitaries on stage, and especially Lalita ma'am, she had come all the way to Geetham to invite me personally. Thank you so much, ma'am. That was very thoughtful. Thank you again, once again, for this opportunity. Good luck, guys.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful address. I would now like to request Dr. C.D. Naidu, sir, to felicitate Dr. Khamalakkannan Garu with a memento.
I would now like to request Dr. K. Neelaveni ma'am to felicitate Sri Subbu Peteti sir.
To formally express our gratitude, I now invite Dr. Shomitra Ghosh to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Respected dignitaries, resource persons, dear colleagues, participants, and students, on behalf of the organizing committee of CAPS Workshop 2025, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for your invaluable contributions and unwavering support in making this workshop a reality. First and foremost, I would like to sincerely thank the President, the General Secretary of VIGNANA JYOTHI, other members of the management, the Principal, and the Director of VNR VJIT for their valuable guidance and great support in hosting the event. Your encouragement and motivating leadership have been instrumental in helping us plan and organize this workshop. I thank our HOD and other faculty members for their continuous encouragement, support, and insights. A special thanks to our student volunteers for their time and dedication. On behalf of the organizing team, I want to thank all the resource persons who agreed to be guest speakers and shared their expertise. Finally, I want to convey my gratitude to all the participants for showing their interest and excitement in our sessions. Thank you.
We'll just break for tea, and we'll start the first session of Dr. Kamalakkannan Garu in 10 minutes.
Do you know what is the cinema looking? If you want to go to cinema, what is the cost of the cinema now? How much you need to shell out? I heard it is 1,000 rupees. In the recent past, some cinemas I read in newspapers is 1,000 baht, which I felt very bad. So probably people like your generation should not go to that kind of a level where common man cannot see the cinema at all. So that's a critic that I have. Probably whether it is critic or I don't know. So cinema value should come down and entertain every people so that everybody will enjoy that moment of 2 hours or 3 hours. That should be the cinema culture. So that was the days when we used to go. When I remember, probably 60s or 70s, it is 21 paisa. If you have 30 paisa in your packet, you will get 2 idli, comfortably eat in the interval, and have cinema darshan and go home with much more happier than these days. So either the parents or the children probably should shell out more than 2,000 rupees to go to a movie. I said, when my children are booking, not book for me. it is for you, not for me. I am not afford to look that kind of a cinema with paying 2000 rupees with 100, what do you call, 500 rupees popcorn and then 1000 rupees ticket. I am not there for the cinema. So I look for somebody should think on this also, probably the next generation at least. Tomorrow it may go to 2000, who will see? 140 crore population India doesn't look that kind of a cinemas, right? So cinema should come to tents again, where all common people will sit and enjoy on a sand. I wish that should happen. Thank you very much.
The next session would start in 10 minutes.
Once again, good morning and welcome back. Am I audible? Okay. So I asked you a question. Why film studies, especially in a technical institute? You had adequate gap to think. Fine. Actually, it should be about reading. But fortunately or unfortunately, the present dominant art form is cinema, the visual medium, isn't it? So how to integrate visual medium into technology and trigger imagination? You get it? You just think, in order to design anything new, any equipment, right from industrial, medical, or automobile, anything for that matter, in order to design a new thing, what do you need? Obviously, imagination. So, what could be the triggering forces to imagine something? What triggers imagination? Need and ideas can be triggered from art. Okay? So reading is the primary thing, but as I mentioned earlier, we need to admit this quite sadly. Reading has very much gone down. Okay, especially after the advent of internet, after the advent of visual media, and the plethora of entities available online for free of cost. So certainly, reading has gone down. So visual medium can also trigger imagination. Okay, right. So this particular presentation will be about film appreciation. It is not about film making, film production. That is entirely a kind of industrial approach, technological approach. Here we are going to give a kind of a scholarly academic approach, which means film appreciation, how you can approach cinema from different angles and dimensions. Okay, right. So these are all the approaches which I'll be touching upon. As Sarah has already mentioned, whatever question that you have, you can pose after the session. And if at all any question which cannot be answered or that demands a big answer, I request you to explore more. All the information is available online. Okay, right. So first and foremost, we need to understand the language of film. And why? Because there's a kind of common misunderstanding that literature and the cinema, they have a kind of similar language pattern, which is not. Okay, that we will discuss when I touch upon film and literature. And then auteur's approach. The word auteur is a French term which translates in English to author. Okay, so film is a kind of collaborative art form, isn't it? For example, fiction, novel, poetry, all these can have authors. What about a film? So this particular theory or concept addresses this particular idea. And then adaptation, as I mentioned earlier, there's a very close connection between film and literature. Any film which is quite successful, it has a very strong, good writing as a basis. Okay, and also how a popular literature can be adapted for cinema. That is also we are going to discuss. And another common idea or approach that is quite prevalent in academia is gender-based approaches, especially using psychoanalytic theories like gaze theory and all that. Okay, and also film movements. You'll be quite surprised to know, just like various artistic movements and literary movements, films also have movements across the world. Okay, So that's a very, very interesting area. And also film genres. You might be wondering why film genre? Just like in literature, you have a thriller, you have horror, you have melodrama, okay? But especially when it comes to cinema being a visual medium, there are some genres which exceed this particular confinement. So that is also I'm going to touch upon. And then the connection between film and society, and finally film semiotics. Um, and again, these are all one of the major approaches. Okay, not what to say. These are the finale or the grand what to say entity. So let me begin with film language. First and foremost, the basic unit of any film, any visual medium is shot. You know, and the shots are combined to scenes, and the scenes are combined to sequences, and the sequences made into a full-length film. Okay, and mise en scène, a French term which we will discuss in detail shortly, which is the be-all and end-all of any frame. Anything that you see on screen, okay, you will not see just the characters. In the frame, you have so many things. For example, you are seeing me right now. Okay, are you seeing only me? You have my costumes, my hairstyle, the mic, and then the props in the background. Okay, so all these things should be presented in a frame. Okay, so that is what they call mise en scène that we will discuss in a short while. And then different types of editing. Okay, in fact, one popular filmmaker has said the film is actually made on the editing table. Okay, so that shows the importance and the significance of film editing, and obviously sound and music. Okay, sound is different and music is different, that we will touch upon, and then different camera angles, and of course lighting. So what we see here are different types of shots, and every shot has a purpose. For example, if I want to show you a battlefield, what shot will you prefer? Obviously, an extreme long shot, wide shot. Why? Because you need to cover the entirety of the army. Okay. So similarly, wide shot, medium shot, and if I want to show something very important, so I'll go for an extreme close up. So these are the different types of shots. Okay. Now, since it is titled as a kind of workshop, I just want to do it mentally. You need not write a script now, but you can just try it in your mind. Okay, just read this paragraph. One of these young women came from Maine. Okay, the entire paragraph. There is one particular line which is italicized. They had met at a restaurant on 8th Street. So two women, two girls are meeting in a restaurant. Okay, so both of them are artists, and they found their interests common, and they decided to collaborate and work together. Okay, so that is the thing. Now, if you want to show this particular scene visually, what you will do? Can you create this restaurant in your mind? And can you, all of you, create the same restaurant? So that is what you call the script writing. Okay, so what kind of restaurant they meet, what kind of tables and chairs are there, and what kind of props are available, whether it is a vase or table or plate. Okay, and what kind of costumes these two girls are wearing, what kind of hairdo they are having, and what time they are meeting, what kind of lighting they have. Okay, and in what proximity they are sitting. Okay, all these should be decided by the script writer. So can you understand why good writing makes a good film? Because this is the story. But if at all I want to make a film, I need to think about all these things. Okay? Writing a story in one line is easy, but to give a kind of visual representation is extremely, extremely difficult. Okay? Why? Because you need to consider various things. Just think about this common line. The hero and heroine are meeting in a park in the evening. That's all. So what age the hero belongs to? What kind of costume he is wearing? What hairstyle he is having? And what about the heroine? Okay? And park means what kind of park it is? The park will have plants, trees, flowers. Okay? And evening means right from 4 o'clock till, late evening around 8 o'clock. It is evening only, isn't it? So what kind of lighting I'm going to put in there? Okay? If it is 4 o'clock, the lighting will be different. If it is 7 o'clock, the lighting will be different, isn't it? So I need to think about all these things. But what the line says? The boy and girl met in a park in the evening, that's all. Okay, so this is what you call mise en scène, including everything, which means to say putting on stage. The original meaning was putting on the stage. Okay, but in film it is putting into the frame. Okay, so this particular passage is from The Last Leaf by O. Henry. Many of you might have read the story. Similarly, here another simple passage, a kind of simple mental exercise. Okay, Dimitrich, middle class man. So his income, and in the evening he is seated on the sofa for his supper and the newspaper. Okay. Here, what are the clues that you have? What kind of house he'll be living in? What kind of sofa he is going to sit? Okay. What kind of costumes he's going to wear? Okay. What are the clues available here? He's a middle class person. Okay. So using this particular keyword, you have to create the entire scenario, isn't it? So this is where the mise en scène comes into play based on the script writing. Okay. Right. So these are all the important elements of the mise en scène. First and foremost, the setting and props. You just think about all the climax fight scenes in Indian cinema, where it takes place, either in an abandoned factory or in, what to say, some dingy place, isn't it? And think about the romantic scenes. Okay, what kind of lighting it has? Okay, very bright, colorful, and all that. Okay, so the frame, and then the lighting and color, and what kind of costume, makeup they have, and then framing. What kind of, what to say, shot it is. It is going to be a close-up shot, or a mid shot, or a long shot. All these has to be decided. And then the movement. Okay. I think I forgot to ask you this question. How this magic called cinema is possible? Before that, who invented cinema? In fact, there's a separate slide on film history, which I don't touch upon because this is a very, very elaborate topic. Who invented cinema? All of you watch films, right? So who invented cinema? Something with which we live every day. Can you tell me, is there any day which has passed without watching a frame of film? At least in television or in your mobile? At least one frame, one song, one scene. It has become part and parcel of our lives, isn't it? So who invented cinema? Actually, you cannot say. Why? Because it's a kind of a very long effort out of which cinema has bloomed. But we can give credit to some people for creating this particular art form. Okay, so it is the Lumiere brothers. Okay, why? Because even before that, cinema was invented, and people have been viewing through Nickelodeon. You know what a Nickelodeon is, isn't it? Which means people will pay a nickel and peep through a hole, and they will see running shots. People who belong to my age group might have heard this term called bioscope, especially in villages and what to say, festivals. A man will be carrying a small equipment and he will put it on a tripod, okay? And you have to pay him 1 rupee or 50 paise, and you can peep into a hole, okay, through a lens. And he will just hand roll the crank. You will find, what to say, reels running, okay? So something like that. That was a Nickelodeon, okay? So from there, for the first time, projection on screen has happened only because of Lumiere brothers, okay? Actually, they worked upon Edison's, the kinetoscope and all that, and they have developed this new equipment which could project things on screen. Okay, so we can say even though they have not invented, the credit of today's cinema should be given to Lumiere brothers because they are the people who actually projected film on screen as a mass medium. Right. So apart from all this, you also have acting. Okay. So without acting, without facial expressions, without emotions, no film is really possible, isn't it? Okay. And again, when it comes to acting, there are different schools of acting, but the most popular ones are like the method acting and the classical character acting. Okay. And this method acting was actually coined by a Russian scholar called Konstantin Stanislavski. He wrote a book called An Actor Prepares. Okay, though it is primarily meant for theater, it's been adapted by many film actors. Okay, so these are all some of the popular actors who claim that they are all method actors. Okay, And there are some people who go into natural acting or classical acting or exterior imitation. Okay. So what is the difference between this method acting and character acting or classical acting? Because when you see on screen, you cannot say. For example, have you heard of Denzel Washington? A very famous, yeah. He's a wonderful actor, but he is not a method actor. Marlon Brando, Godfather, he claims himself to be a method actor. So both of them are great actors, isn't it? But one belongs to the natural school of acting, and another one belongs to the method acting. Okay. The simple difference is method actors actually live the characters, which means what to say, even in the front of the camera or off the camera, they will actually live the life of the character for a very long time. It is not very easy for them to come out of this character or the personality. Okay, so many film actors have said they were unable to come out of the mood of the character. If at all they are doing some sad or what to say, violent role. Okay, so that is what method acting is, which means the character, the actor has to live the character. Okay, which means once he has started living the character, action is not required. Okay, all that he needs to do is reaction. Once the situation is presented, if at all this particular character is there, how he would react. Okay, right. So that is what method acting is. And then you have classical acting or character acting, which is called external imitation. If I want to act as a drunkard, I will just observe how the drunkards are behaving and simply I imitate them, which dates back to Aristotle's theory of mimesis. You know it. Okay. Next comes the editing part. Though there are so many editing types, the montage is one of the most popular and widely used techniques. Okay, which means they will simply, what to say, show you rapid images moving very fast. Okay, it was first introduced by Sergei Eisenstein in his Battleship Potemkin in the 1925 silent movie, especially in the Odessa Steppe scene, where there is a battle between the army of the Tsar and the naval rebels. Okay, so in between, the civilians are caught, and this horror should be shown on screen. Okay, so there's a very powerful BGM, and then what to say, visuals, very rapidly moving images. Okay, and till date, all the directors have been using this particular method. Okay, I have clippings of some of the what to say, popular montages. I'll just show you after the session. Okay, without intervening. So the last frame and the first frame are showing you the horror, how people are moving with their guns and what kind of expressions civilians are having. All this will be shown in this montage. So these are all some of the popular scenes. In fact, the shower scene in Psycho has become the epitome of one of the finest montages ever made. Okay. In fact, there was a full-length documentary made on this particular sequence alone, just this particular sequence. But there was a full-length documentary. So, imitating this, there are how to say many scenes. Most of you might have watched this film called Rocky. Think about the Rocky training. Okay, with the Eye of the Tiger music. Okay, all those are montages, and most of the what to say Indian song sequences are montages. Advertisements are montages. Okay, so this is the film 78/52. So you have 78 shots and 52 cuts. Okay, which means within 52 seconds I should show 78 shots. Can you understand how fast the camera might be moving? Okay, so going back to this particular question, how this magic called cinema is really happening. That is because of a flaw in our eye, which is called the persistence of vision. Okay, actually, whatever we see as moving images, they are not actually moving images. They're all still images. I think you know. Okay, most of you might have used this magic book in your childhood days. There'll be a book with pictures. Once you scroll it, you will find, for example, somebody's playing a cricket. Okay. So in one image, he'll be holding a bat like this, next like this, next like this, next like this. Okay. So once you scroll the book, it will be moving. Okay. But actually, your eye should perceive it as an image, isn't it? But what you see is a movement. Am I right? So this is because of the flaw in our eye, which is called the persistence of the vision. Okay. So initially, when cinematography was introduced, it was only 16 frames per second. If at all you have seen the silent films of Charles Chaplin or Lauren Hardy and some of the war pictures shown in the cinema, you will find the movements are quite jerky. Okay, not quite natural. Okay, that's because it is only 16 frames. And later, when technology developed, it has become 24 frames. Okay, so if at all somebody is showing you 24 frames in a second, you can find the movement. Okay, so this is the magic of cinema. And montage is something which has really, really wonderfully exploited this particular technique. So if at all you find time, please watch this particular film. A wonderful film which really explores how this scene was orchestrated and imitating this particular scene, how various Hollywood films have been made. Okay. And also you have other editing techniques, cross-cut, parallel cut, and blind edit. Especially this blind edit is my personal favorite. So for that alone, I take a small break to show you the clipping. Why? Because other clippings you can see. Okay. For example, somebody is dialing a number. Okay. He is actually dialing. Once the receiver is picked up, on the other end, somebody should have picked up, no? So both of them will be shown in the same screen. Okay, so such kind of editings are cross-cut, parallel cut, and all that. But blind edit is something what is quite unique. Okay, which occurs in a film called The Rope by Alfred Hitchcock, who is my demigod, my personal favorite. Okay, in fact, I wrote a monograph on Alfred Hitchcock. What happens in the film is there are two scholars, university scholars, but with a twisted mind. They are quite influenced by the Nietzschean philosophy of Uberman, okay, or Overman, not Superman, Overman, which means they believe that they are not common individuals, they are high above the ordinary people, okay, which means they have the right to eliminate who are unfit to live, okay. So they kill one of their classmates and put them in a kind of wooden chest in the same apartment. And inside the apartment, there's a party that is going on. Okay, and the people are coming, and what to say, on the chest, tablecloth was put, and various food items were served. Okay, and people are searching for this boy, but he is absent. And finally, there was an encounter between these two guys and their professor, who actually taught them this Nietzschean theory, and there was a happy ending. Okay, happy ending in the sense that the boys get arrested. Okay, but in this film, what Hitchcock has done was, it's a chamber drama. Chamber drama in the sense, almost no outdoor shots. Okay, the entire film takes place in a small apartment. Okay, so whenever there's a cut needed, he does a magic, which means you will find as if the entire movie is taken in a single shot. Okay, which is not really possible. You need cuts, you need editing. Editing is done, but you will feel as if the movie is seamlessly flowing without any cut. Okay, please go to that particular slide. Go to this new folder. You will find, I'll show you what it is.
Really, you get much too upset much too easily, Philip. We have a very simple excuse right here. What are you worrying about, Philip? After all, old Mr. Kentley's coming mainly to look at these books. Now, what could be better than to have them laid out neatly on the dining room table where the poor old man could easily get at them?
I'll tell you what exactly happens. Okay? Whenever a cut is required, a close-up shot of the person's back will be shown. And almost all of them are wearing gray or dark suits, isn't it? And that is where the cut lies. Okay? And unless it is told, we will not feel that there's a cut. Okay? It is seamlessly flowing. The entire scene is seamlessly flowing. Okay? Now we can see. There was a cut gone now.
Considerate, aren't we? Most considerate.
Thank you.
Hello? Oh.
Oh, mine's fine, thanks.
Would you mind taking this into Janet?
Sure. Why?
No particular reason. It's hers. I thought you'd like to take it into her. She's in the bedroom telephoning.
Then you'd like David to walk in.
No, that'd be too much of a shock.
Then we walk. July 14th. Can you really tell my future from that?
Of course, I'm only an amateur.
I'm sure you're very good.
I do my best. I suppose you want to know if you're confident to be a success.
Yes, I do.
Let me see now. You were born on the 14th of July. Your cancer.
Something gone wrong, Brandon? No, Janet just has a talent for being bothersome at times. However, I suppose I'd better. What did you mean? Something gone wrong?
Well, you've always planned your party so well. It's odd if anything go wrong. She seems to be missing David.
As a matter of fact, I'm beginning to miss him myself. Aren't we all?
Can you notice? So that is where the cut
Desserts,
comes.
Mr. Cadell?
One for you,
Fine.
one for me, my love.
Oh, Mr. C.
So I hope you got the idea.
Don't. Okay, so coming to sound and music. Music, you know, okay, mostly it is added in the post-production to enhance the visuals. And sound is part and parcel of the screen, the story, okay? For example, there's a kind of heated argument going on. Somebody suddenly takes out a gun. What do you need there? You need a powerful BGM, okay? You're terrifying, to enhance the terrifying effect, okay? And he is shooting actually. There's a gunshot. What it is? It is sound which comes from the story because it is a gun which is fired in the screen. But the BGM is not part of the story. It is only an enhancer, okay? So all the BGMs and various effects which are added are, what to say, non-diegetic, and the diegetic sounds are part of the film. For example, somebody is dropping a coin or a plate, okay? All these are part and parcel of the story. That is what we call diegetic sound, okay? Non-diegetic is, which is actually added later in the post-production. Okay, so pure cinema. It's a concept which is once again developed by Hitchcock and some of the French theorists. What they believe is pure cinema is visual. There is no need for dialogues. In fact, great filmmakers like Hitchcock and others, they had a lot of hesitation to shift to sound and to dialogues because they were so stuck to the silent era, and they very strongly believed that cinema is visual. There is no need for dialogues. Okay, but in the later days, you might have found, especially some of the Tamil cinema, lengthy dialogues, spoken on screen was considered to be a great thing. Okay, but that has a different historical context and political significance that we will discuss later if at all there is time. Okay, so this is one fine example I can show. It Had to Be Murder, a short story by Cornel Woolrich, which is around some 36 pages. Okay, but the script runs for more than 120 pages. It is all available online. You can check. Okay, the story narrates you something, but the opening scene tells you a wonderful story without using a single word. There is no word at all. Okay, but you can understand what is the context. Okay, shall we see the clipping now? Rear window.
You over 40, when you wake up in the morning, do you feel tired? Do you have that listless feeling?
Okay, so no dialogues used. Tell me what you understood. Who is he? There was something shown, no? Yeah, that's his name. There was an object shown in a very broken condition. What? Camera. Okay. Why the broken camera inside his room? So it belongs to him, right? And they also show one accident zone. So what he could be, and then lots of magazines piled up on his table. What he could be? Louder? He is a sports photographer. Okay. When he was in the field, he met with an accident. Okay. So that is what is narrated without using dialogues. You just imagine some other filmmaker from India, or to say an inefficient filmmaker is trying to make. The entire scenario would have been narrated to you even after showing all this, so that what to say, the audience can understand things better. Which means you are underestimating the audience. Okay, but in this particular introduction, there is no dialogue at all. But we can understand his profession and why he met with an accident, and the object and the photograph. So when you connect all this, you can understand the entire scenario. Okay. Slide. Yeah. So the next important approach is auteur's approach. As I mentioned earlier, the word auteur in French is author in English. Okay. Now, is it really possible to claim authorship for a film? As I mentioned earlier, you have the story writer, and then you have a script writer, and sometimes there'll be a storyboard, and then a shooting script, which means they will improvise from the script. Okay, and then the cameraman, the editor. So all these people are collaborating, and right from what to say the right man, everybody is contributing in the making of the film, isn't it? I'm not dismissing the minor contributions. So it is a kind of industrial product, and so many people are really contributing to it. Okay, so in this case, how is it really possible to give authorship to one particular individual? For a painting, you can do that. Okay, Vincent van Gogh's painting, you can say, because he is the one who has chosen the palette, he has painted it using impasto technique. You can say it to a music composition. A single person composes a musical piece. And to a poem or a novel or a short story, anything for that matter, you can say he or she is the author. What about a film? That's a very triggering question, no? Okay. So this particular theory dates back to the 1940s and 50s, especially Francois Truffaut and André Bazin, two important filmmakers and film critics, importantly. Can you understand how scholarship and filmmaking went hand to hand in those days, especially in France? So they ran a journal called Cahiers du Cinema, which means cinema notebooks. Okay. So in this particular journal, they have been writing interesting articles about films. Okay, and they were all great fans of Hollywood classical cinema, especially about Hitchcock. There was a full-length interview, which is a very voluminous work, which was published, an interview by Truffaut with Hitchcock. Okay, right. So they have been claiming some of the Hollywood directors of those days, like Hitchcock and Billy Wilder, and some of the other Franz Kafka. These people, sorry, Frank Capra. So these people have been claimed as auteurs by these two people. Okay. But that is not very clear. They simply showed their respect and admiration for these directors, and they said these are the auteurs. Okay. So today, there are, to say, people whom you can call as filmmaker, a wonderful craftsman, and also auteurs. Okay. But all the three are not the same. Okay. For example, Christopher Nolan, Interstellar, Batman, Dark Knight Rises. Okay. So is he an auteur or a craftsman? Absolutely, he's a craftsman, a wonderful filmmaker. But he is not an auteur. Why he is so? Okay. The answer was later given by Andrew Saris, a very important film critic, scholar, and reviewer in the 1960s. Okay. So today there are people like Ingmar Bergman, Hitchcock, Pedro Almodovar, and Quentin Tarantino. These people are given the highest echelon of the auteur. Okay. And what Andrew Saris did was he developed this idea into this. He used three concentric circles to enhance this. Okay. So first and foremost, if at all somebody should be an auteur, he must be a technician, which means repeatedly in all his films, there must be some techniques you should find. Okay. And he must be a stylist. The moment you see the frame, you should be able to say he is having this particular style. If at all someone is a kind of voracious reader, even without the title and the author's name, just by reading a few paragraphs, they can say, this is this author, isn't it? So why he or she could be identified that? Because of the style. Okay. So similarly, the moment you look at one particular frame, you could be able to say, okay, fine, this is by this filmmaker. Okay. During my college days, I used to enjoy Ram Gopal Verma. Okay. I think more than any other filmmaker, the moment you look at his frame, you can very easily say this belongs to Verma. Okay. And apart from these, because these two things are imitable, anybody can imitate a style, anybody can imitate, techniques. But in addition to all this, there must be an interior message. A message which is prevalent in all the films, not just in one film. Okay. For example, a filmmaker like Shankar in Tamil. Suddenly he makes a film on corruption, and he makes a film like Boys, and he makes some other adventure film. Okay, so such filmmakers are really good craftsmen. Okay, great filmmakers, but they cannot be given the echelon of the auteur. Okay, so apart from being a stylist, apart from being a technician, he must or she must carry an interior message. Okay, for example, Ingmar Bergman. How many of you are familiar with the name? Ingmar Bergman. Today, he is not just a filmmaker, he is acclaimed as a kind of philosopher. Why? Because repeatedly in all his films, he is raising the question of God's silence or the death of God. Okay? Can you imagine a filmmaker raising such questions in his films? That's why he is claimed as a philosopher. Okay? Several times he has won Oscars. And philosophically, he is trying to explore the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? Why God is silent and all that. Okay? And very importantly, he wrote all the stories. And he was having a very small crew for himself. The same kind of actors, the same technicians, repeatedly work in the films. And most of the films are chamber dramas, which take place in a small island or in a very confined space. Okay? So this is what author theory is. Okay. So next interesting area or approach is film adaptation. How literary texts are getting adapted for cinema. Okay. So what gets adapted? Novel, short story, play, etc. Now, a very important question. Can we have the same measuring scale for film and literature? Why? Okay. We need to think a bit widely. As our principal sir was speaking, he was quite sad about the money that we spend for film viewing, isn't it? If at all a family is going to watch a movie in a mall, think about the expenses. Apart from the ticket, the parking charge, the fuel charge, the popcorn cost, and then the dinner or lunch, okay? All put together, it will come to around 4,000 to 5,000 rupees, isn't it? Now, think about the investment that is made for films. Think about a film like Bahubali and the amount that is paid to the heroes. It is all in hundreds of crores, isn't it? And how to gain, how to say, profit, right? So, cinema is not just an art medium, okay? Whereas literature is primarily an art, okay, which is not a commercial medium. It is not a mass medium. But cinema is a mass medium, okay? So, having this in our mind, we cannot keep the same scale for literature and film, okay? Why? Because film is an art, film is a business, and film is also an industrial and technological product, okay? Whereas literature is not. But yet, literature can supply its material to cinema, okay? So in the form of novel, short stories, plays, etc., etc., etc. And you have about screenplay, shooting script, storyboard, etc., etc. And especially in the West, if at all you notice, I'm not simply, how to say, saying it out of my opinion. It is a statistical detail which was, how to say, mentioned by Linda Hutchin. Nearly 85% of Oscar-winning movies are based on books. Oscar-winning movies, okay? Which is not that Oscar is something really great. Of course, it is great. Okay, we need some measuring scale, no? Okay, so Oscar-winning movies are mostly based on books, and not only such movies, even the commercial movies. You randomly pick any, to say, successful movie, it will be having a book at the basis. Okay, right. Let me talk about this shooting script for a while. I don't know how many of you are familiar with this song in Gentleman. Have you listened to this number, Vattagatta Kattiko in Tamil? No, it is Tamil. It's a very popular song, okay, especially in the 90s and 2000. Okay. Now, the lyrics are written, a Shankar film, Gentleman. Okay, lyrics are written. And in those days, cassettes will be released. Have you seen the cassette? Audio cassette? Okay. The cassettes have made this song very popular. Okay. And now they have to go for the shooting. The lyric says, hug the camel. Okay. But when you see visually, you will see only horses. In the last time, they cannot change the lyrics because the song has become very popular. Okay. Which means they need to improvise. Okay. And in Tamil, there was another popular director called Ramanarayanan. I don't know whether you are familiar with them. Okay. He was one of the most successful filmmakers who has made films in almost all Indian languages. Okay. Why? Because he need not require stars. Okay. Very ordinary second level actors he will pick up. And also there will be an elephant, a dog, a snake, a monkey. And mostly he will make movies on some bhakti or divine subject. And there will be a divine intervention at the end. Okay. In order to solve all the problems. Okay. And now, to say, there's a shooting that is going on, which is a snake chasing the villain. Science says snakes have no brain, no memory. They cannot remember anything to chase somebody. Okay. But in order to avenge for something, now the snake is chasing this man. You know how it will be shot. A man will be running. That will be shot separately. And the snake will be shot separately. And the editing, it will be combined. Alternatively, when they show, you will find as if the snake is chasing. Okay. While the villain actor is running, he tripped down. Okay. And there was a break. And he went to his green room and came back. And now he is running again. Okay. The shooting continued. The assistant director came to the director and said, "Sir, there's a problem. Wait, let's finish the shoot." So repeatedly he was, intervening and he was snubbing him. And the shooting is over. Okay. And the assistant director was really, really very fed up. Okay. And then he called him. What is the problem? Sir, there is no continuity. What happened? Sir, before the break, he was wearing a red shirt. And after the break, he went to the green room and changed the shirt. Can't the audience think? Suddenly, the color of the shirt is changing. Isn't it? And he said, oh my God, fine. Let us, take care of it in the dubbing. Dubbing? He immediately left his job. Okay, I don't want to work under him at all. Okay, and after that, the film got released and it's become a super duper hit. Okay, and now he's quite curious what this man has really done. Okay, So he went to the theater and watched this scene. The man was running, the snake was chasing. Okay. Suddenly, the color of the shirt has changed. Okay. What he has done was, he has kept a close-up shot for the snake. Okay. Close-up shot for the snake. And the snake is speaking in voiceover. You know what voiceover is. Okay. You will not speak, but your voice can be heard. Okay. The snake is saying, what? If at all you could change your color of the shirt, can't I identify? That's all. Problem solved, isn't it? So this is how films are really made. Okay. Ultimately, whether it is logical or not, whether it is convincing. Okay. Okay. Especially directors like Hitchcock, they will use a storyboard. Okay. He was one particular director who will never deviate from the script. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, there is something called shooting script, which they will improvise. Okay. But this man was so adamant that whatever the script was written, he will not go beyond it. And in fact, he was an artist by profession. He entered film industry as a designer of borders for placards. If at all you have seen, the silent movies, there is a kind of rare need for dialogues. And it will not be spoken. They will show a placard. Okay, just one or two expressions. Have you ever seen that? Charles Chaplin movies and all that. Suddenly they will show a placard. Okay, the dialogue will be written there. Just one or two words. Okay, and these placards will be having borders. Fine. He simply drew these borders initially, and then he became, one of the top-notch directors and icon directors. And what he would do would be, in the shooting spot, he will have charts and immediately he will draw. Okay, where the camera should be placed, where the actor should stand, what are the props should be there. Okay, not even a fly could enter into the frame without his knowledge or permission. Whatever is written in the script, exactly he has to follow it. Okay, right. So the adapted works will certainly draw fans. For example, Harry Potter. Okay, if it is having a very wide readership, and if at all it is made into a film, certainly it will draw the readers as well as additional fans. Okay, some of the popular examples: Stephen King, John Grisham, Mario Puzo's Godfather, Lord of the Rings by Tolkien, 50 Shades of Grey, Twilight series by Stephanie Meyers. So as I already mentioned, Linda Hutchin is highlighting 85% of Oscar-winning films are made on books, based on books. Again, coming to Telugu cinema, I'm not really very familiar, but during my college days, I really enjoyed reading Tulasi Dalam. How many of you are familiar with the novel? Great. Endamuri Virendranath's novel. It was translated into Tamil. Okay. So his works have been adapted for films, and these are some of them: Abhilasha, Challenge, Tulasi Dalam, Kashmira, and all that. Okay. Till date, I haven't watched the film Tulasi Dalam, but I really enjoyed reading the novel. One of the finest horror fiction ever written. Okay, some of the recent examples: Midunam and Jyoti Lakshmi. Okay. Are you familiar with Vetrimaran? Okay. So his Visarane, which has made huge waves, not only in India, even in the international film circles, as the news goes. Nearly around 20 minutes of standing applause, standing ovation the film has received, okay, in the international film festivals. But this film was based on a novel by Chandra Kumar. Surprisingly, he is not a professional writer. He is an auto driver. Actually, the novel is based on his own personal experience. Okay? And after watching this film, I was really astonished. And I want to read the novel. And I read the novel. Unfortunately, it doesn't carry any literary merit. Okay? But when a very ordinary text, when it reaches the right kind of director, it could perform this alchemy of, the art. Okay? How many of you are familiar with this film called The Shawshank Redemption? Great. It's one of wonderful movie, great movie, isn't it? But again, it is based on Stephen King's very ordinary novel. Compared to other novels or novellas by him, it is a very, very ordinary one. Okay? But once it reaches the right hands, the novel can become a great visual experience. Okay. Especially literature lovers, literature scholars, they will know this novel called Madhulugal by Bashir, okay, which is translated into Walls into English, okay, which was made into a Malayalam film, okay. Now, this novel was carrying another title, which is called Stri and the Manam. I think you understand. Stri means woman. Manam means not the mind or the heart. It is the smell, the fragrance. Okay, the scent of a woman. There was, in fact, another famous Hollywood film with the same title. Okay, scent of a woman. So this is the title. Okay, and it is quite contextual for the novel. Why? Because in the novel, what happens was there are two prisons and there is a wall in between. At one side, you have women prisoners. On the other side, male prisoners. Okay. And the male prisoner, he was a freedom fighter, Bashir himself, you can say. He was having the habit of breeding roses, okay, at the corner of this wall, okay. And in the novel, he could get the fragrance of a woman from the other side, okay. And he is initiating a kind of conversation, and the conversation becomes a wonderful friendship. And finally, they decide to meet in the clinic. He pretends as if he is sick, and he has to come to the clinic, and she also has to come to the clinic. On that day, they have to meet. That is what they plan. Okay. But unfortunately, on that day, he gets released, which means they will never meet. Okay. In those days, there is no WhatsApp, no email, nothing. So it's a kind of a sad ending story. Okay. So the point is, it is the fragrance of the woman. Okay. Now it has to be shown visually. Is it possible? You just imagine an actor like Mammootty, okay, standing at the, what to say, rose garden, sniffing at the wall. Horrible, no? Horrible, no? Okay. So what Adur Gopalakrishnan did was, the director and writer, he changed this particular, what to say, nasal entity into olfactory. Okay. There was a giggle from the other side. Usually the word giggle is associated with women, isn't it? Am I right? I'm not gender biased, but you know, okay. Men, they may guffaw, they may laugh, but the word giggle is usually associated with women, isn't it? So he hears a giggle, and after hearing to this, he initiates a conversation. Okay. So just by transforming a very simple entity, he makes real cinema bloom there. Okay. So this is how adaptation really happens. Okay. Okay, so some of the examples in Tamil. You have Kalki's Ponniyin Selvan, which has become Maniratnam's Ponniyin Selvan. Lockup, which I told you already. So these are all some of the popular examples in the contemporary Tamil cinema. Okay, so in Indian scenario, Shakespeare, okay, an everlasting, evergreen subject all over the world. Some statistical detail says at this point of time, when somebody is talking about Shakespeare, nearly around 60 performances are happening all over the world. Okay? So that is the evergreen trait. So Omkara from Othello, and Makbul from Macbeth, and Hyder from Hamlet. Okay? Now, Vishal Bharadwaj has done this wonderful magic of transforming Shakespeare to Indian culture. Okay? You will not feel any kind of alien invasion at all. Today, what people do is they watch some Hollywood film and simply they repeat it. Okay? Right from the costumes, the props. Okay, if at all there's a table and there's a flower vase, they will repeat it. Okay? That is not, real adaptation. Okay? Whereas this man has really, adapted Shakespearean plays to the Indian context. Okay. So, in the case of books, you have direct access to the thoughts of the characters. But in cinema, you need to show through dialogues and sometimes even voiceover. And more importantly, everything has to be shown visually. Okay. How many of you are familiar with Sherlock Holmes? Great. Watching the movie or reading the novel? Mostly movies, isn't it? Anybody has read the novel? Great, super. what is your idea of Sherlock Holmes? When you read the novel, what kind of personality he is? Louder? Provoking. Okay, okay. No, about his looks? He is a tall, slender gentleman in his early 70s, okay, wearing a hat, smoking a pipe, and he will never enter into any physical hustle. Okay, he always uses his deductive logic, not detective, deductive logic. Okay, to infer or solve the problems. Okay. Now think about Guy Ritchie's Sherlock Holmes, who has become a martial artist, isn't it? Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee combined together, and Sherlock Holmes is a part of him. So there are three, characters combined together, and now he is Sherlock Holmes. I really had very big problem. Guy Ritchie is a very good filmmaker. Okay, undoubtedly, his framing, his shots are really magical. Undoubtedly, I cannot deny that. But when it comes to Sherlock Holmes, I had a lot of reservations. Okay, because when I read the novel, the kind of character which I have visualized was entirely different. But when I saw Sherlock Holmes in the form of Robert Downey Jr., it is totally different. Okay, look at this. I think you could guess the statue. It is in London, in Baker Street. It is a statue of Sherlock Holmes himself. Okay, so this is the actual character. Fine, but can you see the image on the right side? So this kind of transformation adaptation is good. The story is the same. Okay. So another important approach is gender-based approach. Ever since in cinema, we know how women are getting objectified, how they are used as glam dolls and all that for commercial purpose and all. Okay. Lara Mulvey, a very important film critic and also theorist, she wrote an essay called Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema. Okay. For the first time, she is addressing this issue of objectification of women using psychoanalytic terms. Okay, she is combining gender studies and gaze theory in it. And also you have LGBTQ approaches, and then how men and masculinity are represented in cinema. These are the gender-based approaches. Okay. So these are all some of the important texts, and especially the ways of seeing. It is primarily about viewing paintings, but you can understand how things can be viewed from different perspectives. It is available free of cost in YouTube. You can watch this documentary. This particular essay, the first one, Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema by Lara Mulvey, is a very interesting essay. In the first reading, it might be a bit challenging for non-literature students, but once you read, a couple of times, certainly you can understand the context. Okay, so these are all different types of gaze binaries. So you have male-female gaze, the medical gaze, the doctor will gaze at the patient, the Orients will gaze at the others, and the colonial gaze will look at the colonized. Likewise, there are different gazes. The rich will gaze at the poor and all that. Okay, so you know what the male gaze is, okay, which is in all its entirety, the film is based upon that. Okay. Now, theoretically, what she says is the male gaze is primarily based on scopophilia. Scopophilia is a psychoanalytic term used by Sigmund Freud, which means the pleasure of looking at things. Okay? The pleasure of looking at things. But it is not just ending there. Okay? For example, I look at a painting. It is beautiful. For example, in a director's room, there's a wonderful impressionist painting I was appreciating. Okay? This is simply a kind of pleasure. Okay? But the same pleasure can be subdivided into various categories, such as voyeuristic, narcissistic, and fetishistic. Okay? Especially cinema has really exploited these different types of scopophilia. Okay? First of all, cinema is voyeuristic. Do you agree? Voyeurism is, you are secretly watching somebody without their knowledge. Someone like a peeping Tom. Okay? Why? Because in this film hall, you are in dark, okay, and you are watching something which is in light, okay, and especially when women are shown, okay, what are the commonly used the tropes? Think about that. For example, a few young boys are standing in a corner and a few girls are coming towards them, okay, and then the camera will go to the close-up of the hero, and there's a jaw-dropping expression on his face, okay. From there, the camera once again goes to the group of girls, and again there is a close-up. What he is watching? He is watching one particular girl who should be the hero, okay. But here, are you watching this girl directly? You are watching it through somebody, isn't it? And all the scenes, where the hero or somebody who is watching the girl secretly out of the keyhole or through the window and all that, okay? So all these are a kind of voyeuristic pleasure, okay? And then narcissistic. I can talk about primarily Tamil cinema. Mostly the Tamil heroes, excepting a few, are very average looking. Yes? How come they become this popular, this craze they have got? Of course, there are some exceptions, but some of the top stars, right from Rajinikanth, are very, average looking, isn't it? But how come they have become, superstars? You know what narcissism is, right? Narcissism. Narcissism is a kind of, theory which is once again developed by Sigmund Freud, which is derived from the Greek mythology of Narcissus. Okay, so Narcissus was a Greek mythological character who is a very handsome young man who loves himself. Okay, all day he'll be sitting near a pond and he'll be admiring his own image that is reflected on the pond. Okay, and the goddess Diana, the moon goddess, she really liked him because of his looks. Okay, so she comes down to propose to him. But this man, without even bothering about the presence of the goddess, he's admiring himself. And the goddess was very infuriated. Okay, and she cursed him to become invisible. Okay, that's how the story goes. Okay, so from this particular story, the word narcissism is developed. Okay, someone who loves himself more. Okay, now just imagine. I want to name anybody, but any average-looking hero on the screen. Okay, doing things which this average-looking or a poor boy cannot do in real life. This man is doing on screen. Okay, a very average-looking hero is getting a heroine like Tamanna, which will never happen in real life. Okay, and a mechanic boy is getting a heroine like Jyothika or somebody. Okay, it is all Tamil cinema, right? Which will never happen in real life. And she'll be a daughter of a business tycoon, and she'll be inheriting a lot of wealth and all that. And these are all the dreams of this film goer. Okay, so when he does all these things on screen and the fight sequences, think about, he'll be having lots and lots of anger suppressed. Okay, but he couldn't do anything, right? But a hero who is like a drumstick, and he is beating or thrashing 20 villains on screen, and he is making, as Sir has mentioned, vehicles fly on screen, defying all gravity. So these all really satisfies this boy. Okay, what happens here? Character identification. He is not watching the hero; he is watching himself. You get it? I cannot get a girl like Tamanna. I cannot get a girl like Jyothika. I cannot thrash 20 goons. Okay? But that boy is doing everything on screen. So it is me. Right? So this is what we call narcissism. Okay? I love myself and I see myself on screen. Okay? And fetishism. You know what fetishism means, especially in erotic terms, attraction or liking for one particular body part. Okay? Some people might have foot fetish and all that. Right? Especially, I don't know why this Indian cinema is so obsessed with the navel region, the midriff. You know, okay, let it be Tamil cinema or Telugu cinema, it is really happening, right? So this is also a kind of, scopophilia, pleasure of looking. Okay. Right. So she very strongly argues that it is the male gaze which is active, and the female is passive, which means the women are always projected as a kind of object for the visual pleasure of men, not for women. This is what she says. But is that all? Is there not a female gaze? You need not answer, but answer yourselves. Okay? Especially the first, what's the frame, which is from Charulata, from Rabindranath Tagore's story by Ray. In the initial part of the film, you can see, okay, how a woman is gazing at a man. Okay? Beautifully portrayed, beautifully portrayed. Right. Is this for men? If at all men see such, what to say, physique, will they be happy? Obviously jealous. Okay? So, whose pleasure it is? I'm leaving the answer to you. That's why there's a question mark. Okay, so next comes LGBTQ issues, lesbian, gay, transgender, and queer issues. These are all some of the films. Okay? All of them are very important. Blue is the warmest color. I will not really recommend. But I very strongly recommend you to watch Portrait of a Lady on Fire, a French film. Céline Sciamma is the director. One of the finest films I have watched in the recent days. Okay? More than the LGBTQ theme, every frame is poetic. Every frame is poetic. Whether she has done it consciously or unconsciously, I don't know. It is about a painter who falls in love with, a painter in the sense, a woman painter, who falls in love with the subject. Okay? Or rather, the subject falls in love with the painter. Okay? Beautifully made. Okay? The lighting, the indoor and outdoor shots, every frame is a painting, a classical painting. In fact, the film runs for around 2 hours or 215 minutes, 2 hours and 15 minutes time. But for me, for the second viewing, it took almost 6 hours for me to finish the film. Because every frame I was freezing and watching. Because I couldn't move my eyes at all from one frame to another. Every frame is a poem. Anyways, just give it a try. Okay, so these are all some of the films, like gender themes. Again, The Great Indian Kitchen, you might have watched, one of the finest feminist films. Okay. But again, more than the films on the right side, I prefer the films on the left, Tupper, Pink, Queen, The Great Indian Kitchen. Why? Because Lipstick Under My Burqa and the Four More Shots, Made in Heaven, these films are a bit hazy. They are, deviating and trying to normalize certain things which are not really agreeable to me. Anyways, you can decide. Okay. So, Pink, Tuppered. And one more question. You watched the film Pink, right? All of you? Okay. I think it is made into a Telugu film also. Fine. I haven't watched that. It was made into Tamil also. Anyways, if at all you have watched the film like Pink, who are the victims? Who are the victims? Girls, isn't it? But there is also a kind of flip side, right? Why a man cannot take no? I think equal to the women, the men are also victims. Victims of certain social norms. Okay? Why? Because men are not really trained to take no. Why? Because they are conditioned in a way that, if at all you approach a woman, initially she will say only no. You will have to repeatedly try. Why? Because she's interested, but she'll be hesitant. She'll be having fear. You will have to break all that. Okay? How many of you are familiar with this poem called To My Coy Mistress by Andrew Marvell? Great, great. Okay? What the poem is about? Louder? Courtship. Excellent, excellent. So the speaker is trying to court a woman. Okay? But do you know how the contemporary feminists are reading the poem? Actually, what he is saying is, see, the time is flying. Okay? If at all you say no, then finally we will age and nothing can be done. So sleep with me. This is what he's asking. Okay, but using the same words in the poem, the contemporary feminists are interpreting the poem as a blackmail. Okay, do you know what will happen? If you don't let me, these things will happen to you. Okay, you read the poem once again, right? Okay, so the men are not really conditioned to take no. Why? Because they haven't heard an yes. Is there any woman who really says yes? So that is how men are conditioned. Anyways, that is the flip side of the movie. Okay, so what she argues is the presence of such, glance sequences or any such objectification, it's not really necessary, and it is only a kind of deviation from the main narration. You have item numbers, rain songs, romantic duets, and all that. There are some exceptions in Tamil, like VJEC 96 and all that. Okay, again, feminist films. Okay, next comes the most important element of the film movements. You have German Expressionism, Soviet montage, Italian Neorealism, French New Wave, and many more movements. But these are all some of the important ones. Okay. Okay. So the expressionist cinema was primarily derived from paintings. You can find a kind of internal turmoil, which is visually manifested in a very, very grand manner in films like Faust and in Nosferatu, a very important horror film in those days. And then the Cabinet of Caligari, which represents fears and desires of people. So montage, already I told you. If at all you want to experience what is realism, you must watch these films, especially The Bicycle Thief. Are you familiar with this title, Bicycle Thief? Okay. It is an Oscar-winning film. Okay. And there was a hero of the film, the father. Can you tell me the second film or any other film he has acted? I'm just trying to show you to what extreme Vittoria De Sica has gone to present realism. Okay. Firstly, the actor who has played the lead, he is not a professional actor. He was looking for a character who could represent the age, okay, which is a war-torn country, Italy, okay, where there is utter poverty, there is unemployment, okay, suffering, misery everywhere, okay, and beaten by life, okay. Such a kind of impassive, stone-like face he's looking for, okay. And you know how actors look, right? So he is not looking for any actors. And finally, he has chosen a bricklayer. By profession, the actor was a bricklayer. And this is the only film he ever acted. And nobody knows where he has gone. Okay? You just imagine, if at all such a thing happens in India, some actor wins an Oscar prize. Or he has acted in an Oscar-winning film. It would have become a sensation, isn't it? So another important film by De Sica himself, La Strada. You can really understand what realism is. Okay, so from the traditional filmmaking style, he is totally going into the outdoors, real life settings. Especially if at all you have watched the film, you can see the bicycle repair shops. Okay, the actual streets in Chennai. There is an area called the Pudupete. Okay, which is known for bike spare parts. Okay, all spurious ones. Right. So once you go into the interior parts of it, you may not come out that easily. It is like a maze-like structure. Okay. So he will show so beautifully all that in the film. And French New Wave, Godard seems to be the iconic director who belongs to this particular movement. Handheld cameras, panning, okay, different kind of lighting, which is quite natural. Okay, all these are challenging the traditional filmmaking style. Film genre. So, apart from the traditional genres that you have in fiction, you have some genres which are quite specific, like film noir and western, which are primarily visual. Okay, so that's why this particular area has become very wide for study. Okay. Can cinema be a tool for social change? Can cinema really bring in a kind of social change? It influences. It influences. Okay? Especially the visual medium is very powerful in its influence. Okay? Both in terms of fashion, style. Okay? But apart from that, cinema is also making very unconscious influence on us. Not just films, primarily the visual medium. Okay? I'll just give you one example. Go to the video collection. There are several versions of the same advert.
എന്റെ ജീവനല്ലേ മോനെ നീ ഇത്ര വലിയ കുട്ടിയായ വിവരം ഈ അച്ഛൻ അറിഞ്ഞില്ല. ഇന്ന് നീ തകർത്തത് എന്റെ ഹൃദയം മാത്രമല്ല മോളെ, വിശ്വാസമാണ്. കല്യാൺ ജ്വല്ലേഴ്സ്, വിശ്വാസം അതല്ലേ എല്ലാം.
Trust is everything. That is what the caption is. Okay? Now, what you have seen is a very short advert, isn't it? And the story goes on like this. There is a kind of middle class family, and the mother goes to the daughter's bedroom and she finds a letter, and she was shocked because she has written that I'm eloping with my boyfriend. Okay? And she screams. Once father reads the letter, he's quite infuriated. And cut, you find the girl inside the bus. She's about to meet the boy. And inside the bus, she finds another man cajoling his daughter. And she is reminded of his father, how he has cajoled her. Okay? So she was overwhelmed by guilt. She gets down and reaches the house. Okay? And the father, he's so angry, he's having closed fist. Okay? But the moment the daughter hugged him, his fist gets relaxed. He also gives the hug. And Kalyan Jewellers, trust is everything. It has several versions, the same story. I think in Telugu there's an Nagarjuna version of it, isn't it? Now, how will you say it's a jewelry advert? Is there any jewelry shown in it? At least a ring? Not even a single piece of gold was shown, isn't it? But it is a jewelry ad. Why? See, cinema or any other visual medium is constantly making very strong influences on our mind. Okay? Especially when we talk about society, both consciously and unconsciously, it is making a very huge impact. Okay? So coming back to this particular ad, tell me. Not even a single piece of gold was shown, but it is about jewelry. The daughter is the jewel. Good, excellent. The emotions shown in the visuals, they will pull the customers to Kalyan Jewellers. Why? Because Kalyan Jewellers has made this ad. Yeah. Trust for the jewelry shop. Actually, I like this ad very much. Why? Because compared to the other versions in other languages, including Tamil, this is very, very subtle and also very dangerous. Okay. Why? Because this ad is propagating and selling the idea of arranged marriages. You get it? Only in arranged marriages, huge amount of gold is involved. Okay? If at all girls elope, and if the boy is quite generous, who will buy jewelry? You think about any family, whether it is rich or middle class or lower middle class, okay? Only they incur two expenses, very high expenses. One is buying a house, and another one is the wedding, okay? And even in the wedding, which is the major expense? Jewelry. Whether you buy it in Kalyan Jewelers or any other jewelry, the institution called arranged marriages should thrive. Okay? So that is the idea they're trying to sell, not their jewels. Why? Because once the idea is sold, you will go to shops, not necessarily Kalyan Jewelers, any shop. And somebody might go to Kalyan Jewelers also. Okay? So we cannot simply take it for granted the visual medium is just for entertainment. Okay? Consistently, it is making unconscious influence on our mind. Okay? Imagine any girl who is watching this, who is having the idea of elopement. What she'll do? There's a possibility she might transform her mind and she will, what to say, expose the idea to her father and try to convince him, and she will go for arranged marriage. Okay? And again, he has to, what to say, shell out all his wealth for the daughter's marriage. Okay? And if at all she elopes, if at all the father is quite angry, I will not give you even a single penny. End of the matter. No jewelry. Okay? So maybe with this, I'll wind up. If you have any questions or clarifications, observations, please shoot. In the flow of many films I might have mentioned. Yeah, just the other day I given it to him. Yeah. It is breaking the fourth wall. Hmm. Hmm. Many? Deadpool, okay, yeah. Okay, I'll address that. Fine. So, when the audience goes to the theater, he is quite prepared, or she is quite prepared, whether he or she is going to watch a realistic film or a fantasy film. Okay? In the film, whichever I gave the example, it is almost like a kind of realist film, which is trying to sell an idea, okay, of divinity or bhakti. Okay? But Deadpool is a fantasy film. Okay, so the audiences are quite prepared, even for Harry Potter for that matter. Okay, we all know that we cannot fly on broomsticks, but still we enjoy the film, isn't it? In fact, there's a concept called, one second, let me recollect. Willing suspension of disbelief. Willing suspension of disbelief. You know it is incredible. You know it cannot happen in real life, but still you want to enjoy it. Okay? Especially for Indian cinema, you need not think about the fantasy films. Okay? Any cinema is like that. Okay? You know very well that, think about Rajinikanth. Okay? We all know how old he is, how sick he is. Okay? And in one particular film, he is, keeping his, right leg like this on air. Okay? Which can be performed only by a trained martial artist. Right? And once it comes down, he rolls his, so it is as simple as that. Okay? Unless you suspend your disbelief, you cannot enjoy. I'm a great fan of ballet also. In fact, I watch films like Aganda. What's it? Akhanda. Okay. I really enjoyed that. Okay. I know that cannot happen. Why? Because, in martial art films, what you need is speed, agility. If at all you watch Jackie Chan films, the kind of punches he makes and the fast movements, this is what a martial art films. Okay. Here, all that you see are poses. Okay. And the victim flies off, dashes against a wall, comes back, once again he bounces back. And you enjoy it. Okay. I really enjoyed the film. I think it's a super hit. Right. So, unless you really have this tendency of willingly suspend disbelief, you cannot enjoy cinema. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Actually, we watched this film in a film festival that happened in Chennai. Okay. You know, they will also give free passes. Okay. So it is a popular film which has already made, a lot of, controversy. Right. There are some people among the audience. We are also very eagerly waiting for the viewing. Okay. The movie has commenced. Just 20 minutes or 10 minutes into the film, we can find people in masses exiting the theater. Okay, all of them are uncles and aunts. Without knowing what the film is about, just because they have got a free pass and people said it's a very important film, they have been sitting there. Okay, so I need not explain further, I think. Okay, so such kind of visual, how to say, explicit material was shown. Okay, so when I said I don't recommend within quotes. Okay, so silence and color propaganda. I wouldn't say color is a propaganda. Color is an emotion. Color is an emotion. Okay. So in order to give the mood to the viewers, they will use one particular palette on screen. Okay. Especially again to quote Vetrimaran's films, right from the beginning of the film, right from the title running. Okay, he will use very bright red color. What to say? Red symbolizing rage. Okay, so these are the emotions which are conveyed in order to create a mood for the audience. It is created. So likewise, think about all the romantic scenes, all the fight sequences, horror scenes. Okay, so particular lighting, particular color combination is used in order to create a mood among the audience. So it is not actually propaganda. It is for creating the mood for the spectators. Okay, once again, let me finish this. And silence. It is very, very intriguing. Why? Because there are some emotions which, what to say, need not be explained verbally, or what to say, even music is not really required. Okay, especially as the questioner has mentioned in 96, towards the end. Okay, they're going to part. Already they have parted, and once again they're going to part. Okay, so such visuals are, what to say, creating the tempo or the mood into the minds of the viewers. Okay, so more than music, more than verbal dialogues, silence can make more impact. Yes.
Further this color propaganda thing, I wanted to ask you that when filmmakers are showing movies that are like showing Mexico, we see warm colors being highlighted, and even for Asian countries like Bangladesh or India, while Hollywood directors are showing these scenarios, they're consistently using warm tones. So don't you think that's kind of a bit racist or propaganda?
I don't really consider it as racist. Why? Because it is really representing the geographical condition of those countries. Okay, especially in the Western movies, it will be Good, Bad, Ugly, and what to say, Fistful of Dollars, and such movies. You will find more or less a monochromatic color. Okay, why? Because that is the kind of heat that is prevailing there. Okay, that dryness should be passed. That desert should be shown. Okay, where you cannot bring in bright colors, that will really spoil the mood. Okay, so that is how it is. If at all you want to, what to say, think about racist or what to say, a kind of prejudiced idea, I will, I will say there is one James Bond film. Okay, it is called Octopussy. Okay, where James Bond is coming to India. Fine. Now, if at all you have seen, what to say, yesteryear Tamil films, they want to show Chennai. First thing they will show LIC building. You know LIC building in Chennai, Mount Road? You can Google it. There is one LIC building which is supposed to be one of the tallest building in the yesteryears. Okay, which is having 14 floors. It is still existing. Mount Road you have heard about. Okay, Anna Sarai. So that building will be shown, and then Central Station. So these are the iconic buildings. They will show it as Chennai. Okay. Now, almost similar to this, this director is trying to show India. The hero, James Bond, has come in a ship. Okay. He is coming out of the ship and he will reach the port. Okay. And he is finding a snake charmer. And people are begging on the streets. And then a sadhu with his jadamudi and all that. Okay. Fine. These are all some of the, what to say, elements in India. But what are they doing in the port? What are they doing in the harbor? But this is how the Westerners want to view India. Okay, there's an idea called Orientalist. Okay, the Westerners create an idea about the Orientals, and they themselves consume it. They themselves enjoy it. Okay, So that is how this film was made. To answer your question, if at all there is any prejudice, it has really passed on in such movies. Okay. And for the geographical color, we are all quite tropical. Heat. Okay. It has to be shown. Okay. So I don't think it is to say prejudice or any kind of bias in there.
Thank you so much, sir. This lecture on major approaches to cinema has been very insightful to all of us. I hope a lot of learning and our viewing experience of cinema would be so meaningful and so different from now onwards. So thank you very much. Yeah, we'll break. Okay. Yeah, we call the next speaker Subbu sir to take over.
There is one more question. I'm not really sure about the silence in cinema. I need to explore that. Okay, is there any book on silence? She's asking. I'm not really sure. Let me explore. And regarding props, again, props are meant to create the mood. Okay, think about a fight sequence. Yeah, fight sequence cannot happen in a five-star, hotel room. Okay, a dingy, abandoned factory or abandoned building or an incomplete building. Okay, so these are all the things. And for a romantic scene, you need something quite beautiful, a park, a river, and all that. Okay, and including the costumes they wear and the various accessories they are carrying. Okay, in order to create the impact. Anyways, thank you so much for your listening. You have been a wonderful audience. Thank you.
We request the next speaker, Sri Subbu Peteti, to take over.
It's a wonderful show there, sir. I had a couple of questions, but no worries. While they pull up this thing, just wanted you have a mic also there. So coming to this male gaze thing, because there's a lot of male gaze thing in our South Indian films that kind of carries down to our audience also, and especially in our real life, we, especially the men, cannot avoid looking at body parts of women. How do you think the way we portray women is affecting the current generations? Is there anything that we can do, or any thoughts on that before we get started? Or tell me when you're ready with the presentation.
The answer might be quite idealistic, but that is what comes to my mind. Men should be trained. In the families, men should be trained. Okay? In fact, in Tamil Nadu, there is a rule. I don't know whether you are familiar with that. If at all any man or a boy is looking at a girl for more than 14 seconds, that is harassment. He can be even penalized. Okay? But my question is, if at all he is having a stopwatch, okay, 13 seconds I will watch. Okay, fine. I'm training now. Once again, 13 seconds. Then, so it is quite a kind of a twisted question, but what to say? Men should be given the idea how to respect women, how to value them, how to look at them, and all that. Okay, so that's a very, very long way, and that's a cultural thing. I don't think that could be made through cinema. Okay, cinema is a commercial medium. It could do anything for that matter. Okay, but families should take care of this, right? Parents should address this. That is what comes to my mind. I don't know whether.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that is possible. But we need idealistic filmmakers. As I mentioned earlier, cinema is business primarily. So how can we make money? That will be their primary target. In fact, I was talking to one of the directors called Ram, who was my college mate in MCC, who has made Kattar the Tamil and such movies. He said, even for a very, very low budget film, okay, nearly 110 technicians should work. Okay, which means their livelihood is depending only upon the success of the film. Okay, so you just imagine now, I'm investing a lot of money and success is the only motive. What I will do? I'll do anything for that, right? So I don't think cinema is really that capable for doing this, but families can.
Just, thank you so much, sir. So lovely. Guys, can we get started? Hello, everyone. Fantastic to see you here. Some of us are not yet hungry. I am. Okay. Yeah, can we have the first slide here? What after Sir's session, I have realized that there's so much for me to still read and learn. But then I can give you a perspective from the actual production point of view, how a film can be made. I'll run you through an example of one of my films, which is called Mark, which had won quite some awards in the Western side, especially in the European and UK side of film festivals. And I just want you to show a filmmaker's process. And this is my process, and most of the Hollywood and the British processes which had worked there. But is it the only process? No, there are so many other ways to make a film. I'm just running you through what I have gone through. I will show you what steps I followed to arrive at a film. So I'll take you through a series of things, which is how I generate an idea for a film, how I do the character building, the step out lines, the scripting, the casting, the locations, working with actors, production, and post. And I'll show you the film. And after watching the film, you can ask me questions which will be relevant to how I built my pre production and how I made the film. Just to start with, uh, before we jump into making a film, the first thing we ask ourselves is, where do I start? What kind of a film do I make? Usually, do we follow trends? Do you have to make a film, or what does you Google, or do you do ChatGPT and find out that horror films are very easy to catch the audience? So should I make a horror film, or there's a lot of dialogue oriented or mass comedy that is working today? So should I do that kind of a film? So the question remains, but I would say that what am I very passionate about? So this film, Mark, why was I passionate about telling a story of especially women and horses is because I am a great a passionate rider. I love horses and I love a lot of guns. I like to film horses or tell a story about horses or tell a story which involves a lot of guns and shooting and fighting. Okay, but did I realize all of that? You will see for yourself. So I was a ardent horse rider, so I realized that I'm in UK. It's the best place for horse riding clubs. Around my university, I was looking up for if there's any horse riding club here. So I started researching, and then I found this lady called Jill Carranza. She is the person who trains all the Olympic horse dressages. You know dressages, right? Dressage is where they wear a nice uniform and then they start jumping over barricades and all. She's the lady who trains them. So I started researching and trying to know more about this world of horse dressage. So here I don't have a script, I don't have an idea, I don't know what I'm going to tell. There's always this saying that, okay, the writer always in this constant turmoil of not knowing what to say. We feel that is very uncomfortable, but that is the exact state you should be in. When you're writing a story or before telling a story, you will be a hell lot of struggle that goes on inside you of what am I going to say? What am I going to write? What am I going to impress the audience with? If you are struggling and if you are having that painful, what do you say, that prasava vedana antaru Telugulo? I mean, the vedana that you're going to give birth to a child, that fear and that struggle, if you're having, you're in the right place. Okay, so if you're confused, fantastic, you're in the right place. Okay, so at this stage I did not have the story. So what I did was I just went to the yard, met a lot of people who are riding, and I realized that it's all women led business. And now I realized, hey, why don't I tell my story with a woman as the protagonist? See how the idea is building up. The more I jump into the world, the more I talk to them, the more I interact and ask a lot of questions. Then I saw the sounds in that place. Their costumes looks very sexy for me. Oh, I can show my riders in this costumes. So I went and did a hack. What is a hack? Hack is simply going and doing a horse ride for that day. Okay. So it gave me a lot of insights on how those people think, how do they run the business. There is not a single man in that horse yard in their business. So I said, let's tell the whole story from a woman point of view and her world. So I started meeting all those ladies and then started riding. And I fell in love with this horse called Major. So the more I came to know about Major, I came to realize that every horse has a particular place that likes to be touched. This horse like to be touched on the forehead and it like to be scratched. Okay, so that's something like our babies. Our babies like to be touched in one place and some don't like. This guy does not like to be touched in the ears. So these are the things I'm learning slowly and slowly once I'm jumping into that world. But I still don't have a story, I don't have a script, I don't have an idea. This is just my idea building stage. So you will, the more you will observe these points, you see how I'm using them in the film when you watch the film. Okay, he hates touching by the ears, or he will never throw anybody who's a non-rider. The horse will know that this guy is not a great rider. They will not throw you down. These are the things I'm learning at this stage. Look at her. When I saw this picture, I wanted my lady to wear this kind of a costume. So at this level, what my observations are, two observations. When I spoke to Jill Carranza for about 1.5 hours interview, I realized that she does not put down her horses. Putting down horses means killing them. In Malakpet horse race club, every time a horse has a single small hairline fracture, the first thing they'll do is kill it on the spot. Literally take machetes, thud, 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 kill it on the spot with all the curtains covered. I've seen that. Because maintaining a horse is very expensive, man, especially a race horse. Race horse does not canter or trot. You know, in horse riding, there are 4 styles of riding: walk, trot, canter, and gallop. And the Balakpet horses only know to gallop. The minute you open the gate, they start galloping. Nothing, no trot, no walk, no canter. Direct galloping. So because the horses of dressage and races are very expensive, they kill them immediately. So in UK, they don't use the machetes or the knives. They simply use a gun or a injection to kill the horses. But this lady was not killing horses. So she had 100 acres of land, which she donated for all the uh, fractured horses or retired horses. Let them live as long as they want, which is very expensive in UK. So I thought, hey, this is a nice point. Can we tell this idea? Ippudu kuda I don't have a story. I just had one idea. The other idea is there's one girl called Ruth who could not jump a plastic barricade. So I said, "Ee ammai story chepdama. Is this a good life?" So at this idea building, I was just okay. Who else is talking? Okay, on the digital. Hello, digital people. Thank you. Okay, you can mute them off. Thank you. Oh, is she swearing at me? No. Thank you. Okay, at this idea generation level, it is just these 2 ideas I had, and then I chose the idea of let me tell the story of somebody who does not want to kill her horses. Okay, you see how the idea is building, meeting a lot of people, going there to that particular world, taking a lot of pictures, a lot of conversations, and a lot of drinks that I had to have, of course, coffee and beer with them. So all these conversations led to a lot of insights into their world. Then I came up with the idea that a passionate trainer, Rose, struggles to run the family business and to put down her retired horses. At this stage, only this idea. And then we started building the character. So this is one area which the Indian or the Eastern kind of filmmakers kind of try to neglect it. We slightly jump into story, saying that, okay, what are the twists? What are the main turning points? What are the main sequences, action sequences where you see a lot of animals flying in the air or a lot of lorries jumping in the sky? Okay, these are the high points that our Indian films are after, but we kind of neglect the character. So the Western world is more into building the characters. So I started talking to Jill, and I realized that her husband is gay. Now, she divorced with her first husband after she learned that he's having a gay relationship with another man. So I said, how do I use this in my film? At that stage, I don't know. Okay, I want to say something about the LGBTQ space, but I don't know. So if you are in the stage of I don't know, but I'm curious, you're in the right place at this level. Okay, so what I did was there's this thing called as character trees where you build a character even before you write your story. These are the 4 characters that I have put up here. I'll share the link with you. I have shared it with Lalita ma'am. She'll send it across. Can you click one of those link to Rose's character? Oh, I look so smart with my new hairstyle. Okay. Yeah, can you zoom on that, please? Yeah. So this is the main character, Rose, which I have built this character before writing the script. So I asked a whole lot of questions to myself. What is her age? How does she look like? What are her traits? What are her main wants? We have this thing, practice called building a character tree, where you ask yourself, the writer asks himself, what do you want the character to look like? Same thing, this is what they did for Bahubali also. Is he very sacrificial? They wrote this for 6 months for Bahubali, and that is when the scene of that scorpion biting the little Bahubali, and he kind of does not tell anybody, or him sacrificing his blood instead of massacring the buffalo in Bahubali. After they wrote this character tree, only then that scene had come. So at this level, I do not know the story, but I'm just building a character here. If you can see that she is Catholic, and she's British, and she's not interested in politics, and she's divorced, and uh, and she's very religious, is what I wrote. This is what I am imagining about my character. Now, how do I show that she's religious in the film? You will see, and I'll ask you the question. And also, please remember this question. This movie is called Mark. I'm going to ask you after the film watching, why do I call this film a mark? Can you just scroll up, please? And then I said, money, she needs money to hold the business and hence the family together. She does not wear any revealing clothes. Just these are all the things that I wrote before writing the script. Now, how is this going to translate into a film? You will see that. Okay? She's very giving and religious. Please, can you scroll? She had some great but bitter experiences in the past. At this stage, I did not write the script. Okay? I'm just from my life experiences or the movies that I saw or the books that I have read, I wanted my character to be like this. So a whole lot of time, efforts, and energies goes into building the character before you start writing a script. Okay? Can you just scroll up? She's not someone you can fool around with. I wrote this. Now, how did this come into action in the picture? You'll see. She's very pure at heart. Okay? So this is how I build characters. And can you please come back to the presentation, please? Guys, if you have any questions while I talk, please shoot out because, yes, please. Huh. Yeah, this is more of a metaphor kind of thing where you start with the feet, the groin, the heart, and the brain. That is to, it is, I mean, I really don't know why the feet and all, but it's a concept that we followed to, meaning at this feet, you ask this kind of questions. For heart, you have this kind of questions. For the brain, you ask this kind of questions. So you'll get to know more about that character. At the end, you prepare all this, but are you going to use all this in your script? Not required. It again depends on what I want to say and what I don't want to say. For example, we have seen Bahubali fight, right? Most of the time we have seen Bahubali fighting in the entire film. So while writing the character or while writing the script, does that mean Bahubali does not eat? Bahubali also eats, right? But we do not see Bahubali eating, any of the scenes. Does he not go to shit? Bahubali does go to shit, right? Do we see Bahubali taking a shit? No, we don't, right? Because it's what you want to tell on the story, and the film is only the thing that you will portray. Okay? Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah. Okay. Now, I just want you to visualize this man saying this dialogue in the film. Imagine this guy is the hero in the film, and he's saying, "I will burn the forest down to catch the terrorist." Okay? Can this be a dialogue in the film? Can it be a dialogue? Yes, very possible. Can this man say it? If he is the hero, can he say it or not? There's a huge forest, and he's saying, and his goal is to catch the terrorist, and he's saying, "I'll burn this forest down to catch this terrorist." But if you know who he is, in his entire life, he will not say it because he is Padma Shri Yadav Payang. He's the Padma Shri award winner, and the forest that you see on the right is entirely planted by him. For the last 45 years and counting today, every day he's planting one tree at a time because he's seen the entire Orissa area dry up with all the animals dying. So now you know his character before the script is written. So will you write a line like that? He cannot forget burning the forest. He will say the terrorist, okay, stay in my forest, eat my fruits and eat my roots or my carrots. Okay, he is not the one who can tell a dialogue like this. So if you build a character in such a way, much before writing your script, the character will start writing his or her own dialogue. If you know, for example, you know me, right? Okay, the little that you know me is the last 10-15 minutes you have been seeing me. The little characteristics that you know about me is he's very jovial, he can talk anything, he doesn't mind, no prejudices, okay? But I'll tell you something about myself. For the last 3 to 4 years, I'm not buying any clothes. I don't buy clothes because each t-shirt, which is a cotton t-shirt that you wear, costs 3,000 liters of pure drinking water. A jeans costs 4,000 liters of drinking water to manufacture a jeans. So if so many clothes are being sold and bought, imagine how many trees are being cut down, how many liters of water are going to cut down. So now imagine I am a protagonist in a film and I'm saying I'm shopping for my jeans, 10 pairs of jeans in Louis Philippe shop. Will I write that dialogue? Because now you know my character that I don't buy clothes at all. I always go to my cousin's place and say, hey, give me all your shirts or give me all your trousers. Because I don't mind borrowing clothes from my brothers or cousins or whatever. I've stopped buying clothes because of me. How many of you have asthma? How many of you don't have asthma? It's all because of me. Yeah. I'm not buying clothes because, see, when I say me, there are at least 10,000 people who follow what I am following, not buying clothes. We are starting, there are slowly starting to thrift clothes, right? There are thrift shops coming where you can buy already pre-loved. This, instead of saying second-hand clothes, they are pre-loved clothes. I don't care. You think these clothes are good, right? Yeah, these are borrowed. Welcome to the club. Okay. So this man will not say that dialogue. See, now, after you know that I don't buy clothes, in your mind, you will either start liking me or disliking me. So the same thing will happen to your characters. Once you start building their character, you will start either liking them or disliking them. If you're disliking, wonderful, make him a villain. That's it. Okay? Yeah, then we move on to the next stage called the step outline. If you can click that, please. Step outline in my in the Western side is simple, but don't jump right into the scripts. You just need to write, for example, you're writing a short. It is about 15 scenes, and then 15 paragraphs of each scene will become a step outline. That is how my step outline at this stage looked like. So I had about 10 scenes and then 10 paragraphs for each scene. Okay, just scroll it up, please. Scroll it up. So these are all the scenes that I had, and I wrote each scene as one paragraph or a line. Okay, and those are all the comments that my professor had given me for each scene. In one scene, I was very fascinated about a girl and girl falling in love, or a man and man falling in love. It was new to me when I was in the UK. So what I did was, I somehow wanted to introduce this in the film. At that stage, I didn't know. So my professor said, hey, they're just 18 and 20 and they're making out. And I was very shocked. A girl and girl making out is big thing for me from a Telugu background guy going and seeing it in the UK. But my professor is a born British lady. She said, what is wrong with 18-year and 20-year-old? If you can see that, why are they arguing? What are their points? No, yeah. The comment number MOU 11. It's a why awkward? They are 18 and 20, she said. So again, she being a British lady, she doesn't care. And me being a Indian, it's a big deal for me. So it's always, whom are you telling the story? Okay, that also comes into play. Yeah, can we move on to the presentation, please? Okay, and I've also mentioned that I'm fascinated about guns. Okay, and I wrote a lot of scenes where I used a lot of guns because UK, especially London, had a lot of props which used very hi-fi guns in films. So I was fascinated, spoke to the gun suppliers, and I wrote great scenes with guns. I showed the script to the I showed the script to the Jill Carranza, the lady who was owning the yard. She said for the first day, she said, okay, it's going to cost you 2,000 pounds per horse. And my horse movie had 40 horses. So 2,000 into 40 is 80,000 pounds, which is like 80 lakh rupees. I did not have. So what did I do? I simply said, I don't have that kind of money, but I'm willing to volunteer. Every weekend I used to go there and clean the horse shit. So the cleaning the horse shit in that area made me very close to Jill Carranza. And slowly that 80,000 pounds came to 0 pounds by the time we reached the filming. So this is how I got my entire horses for free in that film. So now after writing the script, I showed this script to Jill Carranza, and then she said, "Thank you very much. No filming." I said, "What?" I spent 1 month on the pre-production, wrote 1 month script, and then now you say no filming. I came to know that because there is a gun shooting a horse in the film, she cancelled the whole shoot. Now my whole world came tumbling down. So I kind of started getting depressed. I started crying. And now, okay, men don't cry, but I do. Yeah. So I started talking to her daughter, who is called Charlotte. And then she said, Mom does not like to use a gun on a horse. I mean, see, this is just a film. We're not actually shooting the horse. We're just using a gun. And the heroine, at the end of the film, she changes. She does not want to kill the horse. We said no. But I started digging deep and I understood that, oh, there is a family uh, legal battle between Jill and her sister, who's staying in the next yard in the same place, waiting to put a legal case on Jill Carranza because she had 100 acres of land and the sister did not get the 100 acres. So she just wants to get one photograph of a gun in the field and put a legal case and get that land. I did not know this entire story. So after talking to Charlotte, Jill's daughter, and she said, okay, I'll help you out. And then she gave me certain changes in the script. The changes were like this. So imagine my location owner is changing my script. She said, okay, remove the gun scene, remove. She said, okay, horses are being horny. I mean, when they're horny, they want to have mate with the other horse. Okay, don't use the word horny. We don't use that. She said, use the word horses are frisky. Okay, we are buying the horse or you're selling the horse. No, we don't say that. We say we shake our hands. Remember all these dialogues, guys. Shaking hands, horses are frisky. All these things came from Charlotte. Charlotte is Jill's daughter who helped me with all these changes in the script. And finally, Jill Carranza accepted, okay, now you can film. Okay, so these are all the things that a filmmaker goes through while trying to bring up something. Anybody in your film can change your world. I mean, why did Charlotte in UK help me? Because I am a part of a design community here in Hyderabad, where I'm a president of ADI, which is Association of Designers of India, and I have contacts with the best designers in India. So she in UK, London, she's doing a business on pants, is the undergarments in UK, and she needed bamboo straw to manufacture those pants. I came in handy and I gave her a good contact in Bangalore, and she is flourishing in her business now. And that's the reason she helped me. So, all the connections in your life, you have no idea how they'll come in handy where. So, they say there's a saying that be nice to people on your way up because you'll need them on your way down. So, you have no idea how things will happen once you start imagining. If you just to create your vision, things will happen. Just go out there. I mean, imagine 2,000 pounds a horse. I got 40 horses for free. You'll see how I got them for free. Okay. I actually got an aeroplane for free. Will you believe that? That's my next film. Okay. Excuse me. Next comes the casting. These casting is the most important part of your film. They are the most valuable people on your set. Anything happens to them, the whole film is screwed. Okay. So now what I have realized is there is a saying that excuse me, as a character, when you are getting into acting, they say that you have to forget your Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. I'll have- They say before coming into the set or the acting, they say that you have to leave your personal character there and come into the set. I somehow did not believe that concept. I said, why not? For example, this is the character of the film and this is your personal character. Why not use that energy or those traits to this character and make this character more powerful? What I always recommend is that's why you see a lot of filmmakers spending a lot of time with their actors. The more you see spend your time, the director or the producer spends time with their actors, the more they'll get to know about their personal life, and that you can use to give directions while making the film. What did I learn about my characters before I went to direction, before I went on sets? Mia, the main character, she had mental health issues. When she came home to meet me for the first time, it was COVID time, so we were just online. So suddenly she had come to meet me. And then in the UK, most of the roads are one way. So she was driving the Benz car on the wrong side with her hood open. The dicky is open. I said, what are you doing? Even you can kill somebody and you're with your hood open. I realized that she had mental health issues and she's struggling to uh, compose herself. So I said, hey, Mia, see, let's not put your personal life away. Bring it on. She has this habit of repeating sentences. I said, let that be. It's okay. Let us use those personal traits of yours in this film. While watching the film, you will observe that in so many situations, I don't know. I mean, maybe she keeps saying that. I said, let's use it. Okay. The more I met people and the more I spoke to them, I understood that, hey, I can use this character. That guy, Andrew, has a stutter, Natti. He kind of stutters in his words. I said, Andrew, please don't try to stop that. Let's use that. It'll add a more layer to the character. Same with Millie. She is a homosexual herself. I said, can we use that? You will see, or rather hear, how we used her what identification. Same with anesthesia. She is a vegan. She does not touch anything which is animal related. Okay, so while you are spending a lot of time with your actors, you will get to know so many things which you can use in your film. Okay, so and most of the actors I got from Mandy. I'm sure you know what is Mandy. Mandy is a platform where you get actors, and if they know that you're serious, they'll act for free. Okay, and always it is about I balance with good acting performances, and their personal attitude is what I look for. Yes, please. Okay, and most of the crewing is done within the friends. They say that if you build a great team, you're making a great film. So no team, no film. Okay, so it's always when you're making a short film, you start first working with your friends or your colleagues or your classmates. So you never know, these guys will become tomorrow your crew members. Okay, it's always start with your team. Most of them are from my university and the rest I hired from. Okay, next is the locations. And locations, as a budding filmmakers, I would say, get them for free. You have to do anything but get your locations for free. Is it the uni or the police station, whatever. And I am a guy, a perfect example for you here, because like ma'am was introducing me, I'm probably one of those few people in India or the world who has traveled from Kanyakumari to Kashmir for 40 days, 7,000 kilometers, absolutely without money. Would you believe that? No, but all those videos are online on YouTube. You can watch them. So this is me traveling entire India for 40 days, absolutely without money. So how do you get locations for free is go there, talk to people, convince them, you will get them. If I could get 40 horses for free and this aeroplane for free, why can't you get locations like your college for free? Okay, so all your money has to be going into hiring good professional actors or DOP or the main craft, main departments. Do not spend it on your locations, because what did I do here in this aircraft film is I just went every day. I washed the planes and cleaned the planes, and I was volunteering with all the training of the recent pilots, the budding pilots, and I learned to fly a plane for free. Okay, and they gave me the plane for one full day and the runway for half a day for filming. It's just because I went there regularly on my bicycle at -3 degrees and then worked there for 6 weeks to get this plane for free. Okay, so this is what, if you have passion to tell a story, nothing can stop you, and we are a real proofs for you there. Okay, that is me as a student. Okay, this we were shooting a scene which is supposed to be mid-air, so we cannot shoot mid-air, so we were cheating it by just using a small butter paper and shaking the plane. I'll send you the film. Okay, these are all the donations that we give, hacks that I did, the volunteering that I did. I got these locations for free. The next is, how do we work with actors? This is the biggest area that I'm researching now, and I got a shock of my own life, saying that I always believed that, hey, filmmaking is a craft that has to come innate. You have to be born with that talent. You can't study filmmaking. I was always arrogant with that idea, saying that, yeah, what can they teach in classrooms? How do you get filmmaking from books? I was always arrogant. But then after I did a proper MA filmmaking in UK, I realized I knew nothing. The kind of concepts that Kamal sir had just shared just literally blew my mind off. Here I used to pride myself I'm an actor. By the way, I was a TV presenter earlier. I think I am the first VJ on Ma TV, the star Ma TV today, which is like 2003 is when it started. I was the first anchor who was doing live shows on Ma TV. So there was a lot of acting background I had. So I took pride in showing to my actors, hey, this is how you do. You see me there? I'm acting and showing it to my actors, and I used to feel proud of it because I've seen my directors, especially Rajmali sir or so many Indian directors, act and show it to them. I used to think it's great. But after going there, I've done a research and I've started reading a lot. This is the worst thing that you can do because it should never be shown how to act, because it's like holding somebody's hand and saying, hey, turn your hand 45 degrees, now mix salt. Okay, now you add chili powder. This is how do you learn to cook. You should not act and show to the actor how to act. Okay, that is his job, not yours. You as a director have to give directions to get that performance from him. The best example is if you say somebody, if somebody is showing anger and you want to say, can you be less angrier? The first direction that our directors say, "అంత కాదమ్మా, కొంచెం తగ్గు, కొంచెం." Okay, or can you cut down the anger? So that is like giving result oriented direction, where that's not the best way. You have to say, hey, it's not like what you feel in a drunk driver kill your child. It's more like when the phone call is an insurance marketing call. Okay, you get angry when you get a marketing call, right? But you don't, when you get the marketing call, you don't shout like that, right? You just cut. So these are the directions that you have to be giving to the actors rather than giving them result oriented. Now, how did I get to know about this? Is I read a book called Directing Actors by Judith Weston. So I fell in love with that book. So that is when I started believing, hey, there is a lot to learn even from books, because especially film books, they don't give you theory. They give you examples. In this film, this is what the director gave a direction. In that film, this is what Steven Spielberg told Leonardo DiCaprio. Okay? There are techniques called adjustments. This is one of the, like say, what if is a technique where they say, what if that person did not just comment on your mother? That person, see, somebody is showing anger, the actor, I want them to show more anger. I'll say, hey, what if they did not just comment on your mother? What if they touched the private part of your mother? Obviously, the performer's anger will increase, right? So these are the techniques that I learned literally from books. What I used to do is read those concepts, go on to my set and experiment them. Is it working? When I see the thing working, oh wow, this concept is great. And I could not stop reading books. Okay? These are another concepts. So these are the actors that I work with. And also the DOPs usually give you a mood board. Mood board is how you want your film to look like. So this is how my DOP envisioned, which is Carl Stevens, my DOP. and he showed me that, especially that fire scene, there is no scene in the film where we had fire. But he somehow said, "Hey, I'd like to see a scene like that." I had no idea where to write a scene like that because it was not part of the script. But you'll see a great wonder that actually happened in the film because we went for recce meaning to check out the location. And then I realized that lady who owns that land has a huge pile of old furniture which she's burning. And my cameraman said, hey, please don't burn it up. Can you burn it on the 8th of April? She said, why wait till 8th of April? Because that's when we are filming. We want to use this old furniture. And you will see how that old furniture helped us in storytelling. It was not part of the script, but you will see that when the film happens. I'm just running you through the production numbers quickly. Food and beverage, I said, bring your own food because in UK, I mean, everybody has allergens. Some people cannot digest nuts, some people cannot glucose intolerance, some lactose intolerance. I didn't want all those headaches, so I just gave 8 pounds per day, take care of your food. Transport will come by your own cars. We will pay 45p per kilometer. Okay. Accommodation, we just paid for the actors. And the total fund I got was 100 pounds from GoFundMe, and I put in 1500 pounds. Entire film budget. That's all. It's like what? 2 lakh rupees? See if we can make a film like this in 2 lakh rupees. And I also was very wary about the weather every day because UK weather. I'm sorry to bring this up, but this is what there is a saying in the Western world. There are 3 things that are undependable. I have girls and twin daughters. I have twin daughters and a single wife. So I'm very wary of making this statement. What are the 3 things that are undependable in the Western world? They say WWW. Undependable. Work, weather, and women. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that, but that's what the Western world believes. That is their culture. Okay? It doesn't apply to Indians for us. So if you observe the weather, it's always cold, and most of the time it's 8, 7, 6, 5, or 4. So we planned our production in such a way that there's going to be rain. Oh, when is there rain? At around, okay, there was no rain on that day, but it was very cold. So we planned our shots in such a way that if it's too cold outside, let's film inside. If it starts raining outside, we have to be filming this. So this kind of planning has to be done if you're doing it an outdoor shoot. Okay. Now just jumping into the post-production. I come from an Indian background, and all my films that I made in India, could be ad films or short films, are very colorful. I think I just explained to you before. All Indian films, you see very bright colors, all festivities, and all beautiful sunlight. So I come from that background. So my DI work, which is digital interpretation, post colors, color grading, are all like this. This is a frame from my ad film from India. I don't know if you have seen this on YouTube. It keeps coming up. And these are the colors that I use in Indian films. If you see, it's an ad for a Canadian cough syrup, but my Indian mind did not go out of my filmmaking. So all my colors are bright, and this is how my Indian mind is at work. But when I started making this film Mark, I realized that won't work there because this ad is for Indian and Pakistani audience. They like colors. But my Mark is for British audience. So this is how my colors had to look. They have to be all gray. They have to be very dull. And I started researching, and this is where my MA filmmaking came into picture. Like say, why do the British like dull colors? Because the weather is so dull. It's always gray. The sky is always gray. There's no sunlight. And if you see the sun, they'll all say, hey, the sun is out. The sun is out. Come to the window. And then they put their hand out just for the sunlight to fall on their hand. We kind of, when you see them, especially the Westerners in Goa, they like to sleep naked on the beaches. For us, it's like obscene or erotic. For them, damn it, it's for about, I don't want skin allergies. Okay, they don't have sun. That is the reason their films are all gray. And also, they have been through a lot of wars. Britain has been through wars all the time. So if you wear any bright colors, and if there's a soldier standing somewhere, they'll shoot the one with the brightest color. So that is the reason their culture has subconsciously they started wearing grays and blacks and colors like this. So this is what actual study in filmmaking helps you to, I mean, if you read all this, you'll understand what mistakes not to make. Okay? And that's the final team. Okay. And that's about how I prepared for this film. Now I'd like to just sit back, stretch your legs, and enjoy the film for the next 16 minutes. And then all those things that I have told you now, you will see how they came up in the film and how they showed up. I hope you enjoyed. And please, like I said, ask a lot of questions. I have tons of experiences to share with. I'm aware that you are getting late for lunch, so am I. Okay, let's quickly finish it. Can you play the film, please?
What a beautiful sight.
Not to me, Ian.
Do you really have to sell this portion of the park?
Well, yes, if the business stays and the family stays, and, well, these old horses become like extravagant mistresses.
You said old horses. None of them look old to me.
Mark's not old. He's an amazing show jumper. He was actually going to visit his mum this afternoon.
And which one was Mark?
Mark's the Irish sport, the one with the mark on his forehead.
Right, hence the name.
Yes. And he actually really loves being scratched on the forehead, you know?
The mountain has opened up again. So, well, like all pubs have been hard hit. So I just thought maybe we could.
Nice try, Ian. Look, I'm sorry. I'm really just not ready right now.
Well, can you sell Mark? Maybe I hear show jumpers are pretty expensive.
Betting's done. I just haven't shaken hands yet.
And what about some of the old horses? Can you maybe put them down? It's not painful.
Well, not for them, maybe. Anyway, you should be working on your advanced trot.
No school today, teacher. Driving's better than trotting. I'll let you know if anyone's interested in buying.
Well done, much better.
So, is that your mum in the middle there?
No, that's my Aunt Kathy.
So, could you teach me how to ride?
Yeah, but I thought you hated riding too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is kind of sexy.
Not as sexy as it looks.
Wait, what did you say your mum's name was again?
I don't think I mentioned it, you know. But She does go by the name Glenn's horse. Baby, what's Glenn's horse? That's Glenn's horse. Poor thing. Well, whatever. She doesn't like us moving to London. Okay, so first we're gonna take all that crap, move it over there, make small piles, and then I'll teach you how to skip bed. And then, oh, but be careful because some of the horses might bite. So, cool. Right. Just like that. Okay. So, like, why do horses bite? Are they just frisky or what? No, they're just, I don't know, young, curious, I guess.
You know, like, actually, I'm kind of like young and curious myself.
Yeah?
Yeah. My mum can come in like any second because she needed my help.
Yeah, but this is not helping.
I get a nose through the nose, please. That's just not in my control.
Don't want to wait till Kathy comes.
She's not hungry, it seems. Fine, say it.
What? I haven't said anything.
That's the problem, Mum. You don't say it, but I can hear your thoughts aloud.
Okay. I think you should have invited her to lunch.
Really? With your piercing looks around. And it's him, not her. Jessie identifies as a man.
Yes, I know that. I know that. And I've never had a problem with that.
I don't care anymore. One more week.
Why can't we just be normal?
There you go again.
I don't know. I just now's the time. I don't mean it. Now's the time I need you the most.
There's life beyond business, Mum.
Business. Business. There's more than one word in family business.
Tired of this family shit. So first it's Aunt Kathy, and then Dad, and now me. You just use us all for the family business.
What's wrong with wanting to keep this family together?
And how do you intend to keep the family business, Mum?
I'll downsize. I'll sell the farm. I'll even.
Yeah, but you can't put down your horses, can you? It's always been about your horses, the business. No wonder Dad left you.
You have no idea what happened between me and your father. You have no idea.
Was it the horses? Was it someone else?
Hi. He's for sale. I'm ready to do the handshake.
Handshake. Mum. Mum, who are you shaking hands with? Rob. Rob! He's a fucking asshole, Mum. Mum, Rob really wants him for this month's competition. Rob's gonna kill him soon after that, you know that, Mum? But you can't, just anyone, just not her, please, Mum.
Are there any injuries?
Yeah. It's...
Where? I can't feel anything. Where are the injuries?
It's on the face, Mum. It's on the face.
Yeah? I don't feel anything. Where? Where is it? Show me.
But it's there.
Oh,
It's okay, Mum.
I can't.
It's okay, Mum.
Yes, Rob.
Do you want me to come up the hill?
No.
What?
No handshake today.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And don't spend it all tonight. Okay.
Where's Aunt Kathy?
Maybe with Glenn's horse.
Mum.
She's
Please.
with her in-laws. Half that money's hers.
Really?
You know, family shit.
Okay, bye.
Right. Look after my girl. Dear boy.
Rose, can I change my lessons to Friday morning?
Can I check the roster and get back to you? Thanks.
Okay.
Oh, this man's got a cheek.
All right, guys. Thanks for patiently watching it. And obviously, you're saying it's going to be great. Yeah. Okay, there are some mistakes in the film. Anyone found out the mistakes? Yeah? Sorry? Okay, repeat of the car shot. That's one. Very big mistake. Very big blunders, actually. Sound effects of the car, Benz car. I hated that because the Benz car, we had a very horrible sound. It literally sounded like a kerosene tractor, right? Yeah, that's not how Benz. I was having a very tough time with my sound designer, but he had to go to London and we could not do it. That's one more. Another big blunder. Sorry? Continuity error near the. Which one? Which scene was that? They were talking beside. Okay. I didn't observe that, but did you observe that the main character Rose was not riding the horse? She had blonde hair, white hair. Actually, the first lady who was training near that horse jumping scene, she was the one who was riding the horse. See, this is what the mistake that I made was while casting. I did not really check if the main character can ride a horse because she came for the interview with the horse riding dress, but she did not show me her actual riding. So when I actually went into the scene, I realized she can't drive. She can't ride a horse properly. One big mistake is we don't spend enough time during casting. The whole filmmaking can go to a toss. One bad actor can ruin your entire film. Okay, I had a bad actor. No offense to Mia, but she was not a great actor. Actually, the daughter is a better actor. If you could have seen that, I would have made her the mother and cast another younger one. But these are the mistakes that you make as a budding filmmakers, and you learn from your mistakes. So the only way is go out there, make mistakes. Okay. So now can you either guess why is the film named Mark? Sorry, the name of the horse is Mark. Is that the reason? She had a lot of a mark here, and if you had also observed, we took a very conscious decision since the design of the poster. Even in the poster, we had a lot of scars and a lot of burns, and that was a cigarette burn which her husband had put in domestic violence. So these are all the things which are very subtle, but you don't have to tell them on the face of it. It's too very on the nose. So we have to put them as layers and make the audience understand. Keep the subtext growing in the film. That's what they say. Okay, show, don't tell. Okay, any other questions before we run for lunch? Yes, somebody had a question there. Over there. No. It could be good, bad, ugly, a stupid question, nothing like it. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, తీసుకోమ్మా పర్లేదు. Because the first question is difficult to ask because you are always in this, am I asking a right question? Is it a great question? ఉంటుంది, but all of us have questions. Yeah, pick it up. Give it to him. మైక్ ఇచ్చే పర్లేదు, తెలుగులో మాట్లాడచ్చు. Yeah, right ma, go for it. Okay, what is the name of the horse? It's okay. A good round of applause for him. So see, that's what I told. The first 4 minutes you'll feel stupid, but people who do not ask questions, you'll feel bad for the rest of your life. Okay. Yes, it could be very stupid question. Don't worry. Yeah.
The angles in the
In the filmmaking.
Yeah. It varied between the.
పర్లేదు. యాంగిల్స్
హార్స్ ఉంది కదా అదే లైక్ హార్స్ స్టేషన్ ఉంది కదా అక్కడ యాంగిల్స్ వేరే అయినాయి కదా డిఫరెన్స్ వచ్చినాయి కదా
క్లోజ్అప్ షాట్స్ ఇవన్నీ పడినాయి. See, that's the beauty of, thank you for that wonderful question. See, this is the liberty that the DOP takes while telling a story is passionate DOPs or cameramen ఏంటంటే they take this what are these shots called, B-roll shots అంటారు, meaning A-roll shots are all your main shots, B-roll are all the fill-ins. So అవి వాళ్ళకి చెప్పక్కర్లా, they know that okay ఇక్కడ I take all these close-up shots, the editor will know when to use them. Whenever there is a lag in the film, kind of insert those kind of shots to make you get more into the world, a horse రైడింగ్ వరల్డ్ లోకి ఎంటర్ అవ్వడానికి ఆ క్లోజ్అప్ షాట్స్ యాంగిల్స్ అన్ని యూజ్ చేస్తారు. గుడ్ క్వశ్చన్ మా, థ్యాంక్ యూ. యా
సార్, ఇప్పటికీ లైక్ యూ డైరెక్టెడ్ దిస్ ఫిలిం కదా, లైక్ వాట్ ఆర్ యువర్ లాంగ్ టర్మ్ గోల్స్ అండ్ వాట్ యూ వాంట్ టు సక్సీడ్?
Yeah, my long-term goal is again to become a filmmaker, make proper feature films in the global arena. And somehow I am financially, that's a very good question. Thank you, ma. See, we as filmmakers or aspirant filmmakers, ఏంటంటే ఒక సినిమా చేసేస్తే my goal is realized అని అనుకుంటాం. But it takes a lot of efforts to make a film and showcase a film at a very zero budget or low budget. But where do we fail is we don't plan the marketing of it. We don't monetize it. That is a big reason where most of the filmmakers make one or two films and stop making films. I am a failure there because of financial reasons. I had to get a job. Now I'm a professor in Geetham, and that money is taking care of the family issues. But I don't have enough money to make films. So I did not know how to monetize my films. Had I made all my travel shows, which I sold for MTV and TV9 and NTV, those things, if I put them on YouTube and made money, I would have been an independent filmmaker now. So the thing is, if you have a dream of becoming a filmmaker, please plan your marketing and monetizing strategy. See, the trade-off, the drawback with filmmakers is we are very creative. We are not very financially well equipped. So you do not be financially well equipped, or you don't have the acumen of a businessman. So get somebody who has that business acumen into your team. Make them work on how to make money out of this film. It could be YouTube or it could be Insta or whatever. There are so many platforms, and AI is kick-ass now. It's helping filmmakers like crazy. AI, like one of my students, he's an engineering student. He made a short film and the audio is horrible. Audio recording was horrible. And I said, hey, can you make this film with so much background noise and constantly the mic is gar 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 sound loss? What do you do? Engad sir, AI on this chusukuntadu sir. And the next day he simply took his audio, put it on an AI app. All the background noise is cleared. Well, I mean, we didn't have this in our time of filmmaking. Today, just a proper iPhone or even an Android phone, you have a best camera and all the apps on AI. Who can stop you? So find a way to make a film and market it. Nobody can stop you, is my question. I hope I answered that question. Yes, please. Hey, thanks to you. What's your name, Nana? Shashank? Shashank, see, I always told you in the beginning, the first question is very difficult to ask and you don't suffer for the rest of the life. It will always start a chain reaction. Yes, please.
Yeah, first of all, sir, very nice film. I really love the technical aspects of your film.
Thank you. I believe that.
So one question I have is, in the starting of the film, between the conversation between both the characters, throughout the film, I really loved the dynamics that you showed between the characters using your cinematography, the power dynamics. But then the first conversation was a bit confusing for me, the angles that you chose. Can you like explain? I mean, you might have something different to say in the scene. So what was your thought process to show?
You had a problem with the camera angles?
Yeah, like what were you trying to tell?
Thanks for bringing this up. I mean, if you wouldn't know this, but all the filming was done in my house. Okay, that house has got 4 bedrooms, and you can sit, ma. Thank you. And in that particular, to answer your question, in that particular scene, I wanted to bring up that uneasiness between the mother and daughter of not discussing the gay relationship the daughter is having. So this awkward silence, I left it for a while so that the daughter says, oh, come on, say it. నేనేం అనలేదుగా. See, this is what we do in our real life, right? We look at a girl or a boy in such a way that the other person literally starts feeling like running away from the place. But we, especially men, say, hey, I didn't say anything. You don't have to say anything, Gaya. The way you look at me, I understand a million bad words. Okay, I can feel how your thoughts are. Okay, especially the women, they know how the gaze of a man, like what Sir was mentioning, what is it called? So the voracious? Voyeurism, the voyeurism. So I wanted to create that awkward silence in that dining hall discussion of bringing up the topic of, okay, he does that, Jesse does not identify her as a woman, she identifies as a man. Okay, that awkwardness. So
Sir, actually, it's not the scene between the mother and the daughter, because that was pretty clear.
Okay.
The first one, the characters, like the mother and the other person who was going in the pants.
okay, the
Yeah,
purchase of the house.
purchase
Okay,
house,
if you
yeah.
had observed in the character building, I have written that okay, she had a back story and she's divorced or something, and I wanted to show that that guy is interested in her,
Yes,
the
yes.
tall guy, but I wanted to show that
She was not ready yet.
she's not ready yet. So she says, pubs are all open. I mean, are you ready to? She says, I'm not ready yet, she said. So I wanted to bring that out. Maybe I did not succeed in that, but that's what I wanted to.
So who was the person who paid in the end? Was it the same person?
Yeah, the same guy, no, who put the check
Yeah,
on the table. He paid.
And one more question is, who was?
And before I forget, if you observe closely, that check, thank you. There was an Axis Bank check. I could not get the local check at that time. I had, but at the filming, it was Axis Bank check, and it was written in rupees. So I had to send that shot to India to one of my friends, and he changed the rupee symbol to a pound symbol. At least that much I could do. Yeah.
And one more question is, who was your primary inspiration as a director? Like your director inspiration while shooting this film? Who were you inspired by the most?
Okay, good question again. If you observe, the narration of the film is very slow,
Yeah.
because it is not meant for Indians. Indians, at that time, I didn't know I'll be screening it here. I would have cut it much faster, because the British audience, they like their storytelling very slow and not a lot of noise in the background. That's why I very consciously chose a sound designer from Britain, my student person, and all the efforts were with the target audience in mind. Okay, so to answer your question, I was watching a lot of Christopher Nolan's and a lot of British films. So just to understand, hey, how do they British people tell the stories? But my favorite director again, who's the director of Gladiator?
Ridley Scott.
I think he's the one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Thank you for lovely questions. There you go. Oh, thank you again for the chain reaction.
So in the starting of the film, you shown a fire.
Ah.
Yes, like I did not understand the significance of the fire in the starting.
Oh, great question again. Like I said in the beginning, my DOP showed a mood board. In the mood board, you remember there was a fire shot. Then he, in his mind, he was creating a scene where he wants to see a lot of fire, and they wanted to see the protagonist there. To be very honest, while filming, I had no idea what to do with that scene. We just had good, beautiful fire, and it looked very good on the camera. So I pulled that up just to. There is this thing called a pre-roll shot. When you start a web series on Netflix, you will tuck see some scenes or some dialogue in the film, and then the title start. So I kind of use that like a, what do you call, in today's filmmaking they call it the power start. So in the first 2 to 3 seconds is when you have to catch the attention of the audience. So I used it as a power start to create that intrigue, but it was not in the film. That was a subconscious decision, and my editor liked it. Like Sir said, most of the filmmaking is done on the edit table. So, but in India, they say, the director will say, "Idu achhe se, idu lepe, idu put this, put that." That's not editing. That is operating a software. That's it. Editor has to be your storyteller. Once you have made the film, the directors, it is their baby. So they spent. I mean, Bahubali, there was a song which was spent about 3 crores on that song, but the editor said, "We don't require that song, sir. The audience already knows that he is very powerful." So they simply cut out one song or one sequence, which cost 3 crores for one single scene, full scene. So the editor is a bigger storyteller after the shooting is done. I hope I answered that. Oh, please.
Filming this?
Yeah, we've used the red Alexa for this. And fortunately, I was in the university, so the whole kit, we got it for free. Of course, I paid for the fee, my college fee, and we got a good kit. So that answers your question. And don't worry about the kit or the equipment that you're using. Your phones are giving already HD, right? So most of you might think at this stage, who's going to watch my film? If 1,500 people watch your film, it's a good film. Okay, I mean, if you see the number of views on my film, it's hardly 500 now. Okay, that is also forcefully putting people into an auditorium and asking you to see. So if 1,500 people see your film, it's good, fantastic. So there is audience for every kind of film. Forget the trends and start making what you love to tell a story about. So if you have an audience, if you love something, there will be an audience. Forget the craft, forget the equipment. Even if it's an Arri or a phone, nobody cares if the storytelling is great.
Once the relationship between the mother, daughter, and whoever she's dating is sorted, it looked like good. And also the scene with the check. What does it signify, sir, in your opinion?
Okay, fantastic
I
question.
mean,
So,
one more additional question. So immediately after that, would she have changed her stance with dating? I'm asking about the lady who played Mia.
Yeah.
I mean, Mia.
Rose. Okay, thank you. What's your name, ma? Hi, Swati. Fantastic. See, she was asking, it could have finished by the time we saw the girls leaving girl and man leaving for London, right? So that was two characters story I'm concluding. So the catharsis or the climax for my film is, I have shown that this guy is interested in her. And in the beginning, I've shown that she's not committal. She doesn't want to commit to a relationship. So now there's a saying in filmmaking that if you show a gun, it has to fire somewhere. What Chekhov's, like what they say, as a setup and payoff. So if you set up something, you have to show payoff. Right? So now I have set up somebody trying to take her on a date to build a relationship, and she is rejecting, and I have to close that end. So to close that end, I have to have that scene. And why is she closing that end is because she had a bad history in the background. So that is the loop I wanted to conclude. And you're right, it is a drag in the end. Even I was feeling, when will the film stop? No, no worries. See, as audience, you have all the rights. You have all the rights. See, I could have so many. For me, I wrote a dialogue in the discussion at the dining table. She has to say, what about the family business? Okay. And the daughter has to say, business, why are you worried about business? And the mother has to say, there is one more word in family business other than business, which means there is family also. But my character did not use the dialogue. I was like, shit, I missed the dialogue. So what I was trying to say did not come on screen, which is a mistake from my side. Because at that particular filming time, there were so many things that were going wrong. And we were in filming at night and we had to show it for day. So we put a light from outside to show it like a day. That was my house. So we had the liberty to shoot the whole night. So these are the mistakes that we learn. Thank you for that question. Can do, ma'am, but at that particular time, I did not have the luxury because they have left and getting the dialogue and the lip sync was not possible. So I went to London, found a silent place, got the dialogue, but the lip sync was not happening, so I just let it be. So I lost a very nice dialogue in my film, which is very crucial. Bad planning. Sir, can you give the mic? Not yet, sir. You'll get the mic.
I mean, just
thinking aloud, but well, because you said I can ask questions, so I'm asking anyway.
Please.
So you started with a dark scene, night outside with the fire shot, and then you ended in an evening kind of. Did you actually not want to close the loop with another dark shot, or did you actually want to also convey something by showing it in the evening, or was it just a casual thing that happened anyway?
Yeah, good question, sir, because I'm so happy you're asking all these questions. It kind of gives me a perspective. Wow, these are the kind of ideas or perceptions or perspectives that the audience have. Will help me in the next film. To be very honest, I had no idea what I was doing there. After I filmed it, I have no idea that I have opened with the dark and I have to close with the dark. I really did not plan it, sir. I truly gave the freedom to my editor, saying that I will not interfere in your editing process. Please tell your story. I had another story in mind. If you think that you can pull out something or add something, bring something somewhere, that again reminds me of Basha. All of you have seen Basha? Yeah? Basha was Rajnikant's film, right? It's a super duper hit. But once Basha was shown for the premiere, the director and Rajnikant sir said, this is an utter flop film. And Rajnikant sir said, burn the film, literally burn the film. And Suresh Gopi got real jitters in his pants and he said, sir, just give me 1 week. Went back to the film, saw the film again, and he said, let's just do one more day of shoot and we will rearrange the order. What he did was, all the Mafia Don ka thing, he removed from the starting and he placed it in small bits in black and white. All that you remember, Basha. But on the voiceovers, he just showed glimpses of it in black and white and shot half a day of that engineering college ka scene where he says, Na peru Manakyam, kanu nanu Bombaylo inko peruto pilustaru. You remember that scene? Yeah? That's the only thing that they have added, and that's the idea that the editor and Suresh Gopi sir, just in reorder of the film, became a blockbuster. And Suresh Gopi also wrote a book on it. Am I right, sir? Yeah. So this is the power of an editor if you give them the freedom of telling their story also. They have great perspectives. Don't make them your operators. Make them editors. I know I digressed, sir, but at least you gave me an idea. Okay. Last 2 questions, people, and we'll break for lunch. Okay. Thank you so much for organizing this whole event together, putting this event together. I'm sure a lot of efforts went into this, especially Sai and team and Lalita ma'am and Nalini ma'am. Am I saying your name correct? Neelaveni ma'am. Sorry ma'am, I'm very bad with names. And VJIT for giving me this opportunity. Have a wonderful workshop, guys, for today and tomorrow, and see you around. And if you have any good ideas, let me know. We'll make films. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Subbu sir, for such an engaging session, and we got a lot of insights about filmmaking. And thank you so much for showing that beautiful film. We all loved it, and thank you, audience, for being wonderful audience.